They just aren't capable. They aren't capable. And they often target really good, strong women.
Yeah.
They want that because there's such a they feel so bad about themselves. The only way they can feel good is to tear other people down.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming and for your story.
Thank you.
Um, if you want to stick around, we would love for you to do so and listen to some of our other speakers if you're able to, if you have the time. And we are going to move on to our next speaker.
Fantastic. Thank you.
You. If no one else has any other questions for Miss Darla, I'll introduce our next speaker. So, our next speaker is Miss Luciana Adams. And and before I go any further, trigger warnings. This presentation may include some sensitive topics that may be triggering, so please take care of yourself and step away if you need to. Okay, so Miss Luciana Adams is a passionate behavioral health coordinator at University Hospitals in Cleveland, Ohio, where she specializes in facilitating new patient care. Raised in a large, loving family, Luciana is the second oldest of four siblings and a devoted mother to her two children, Elijah and Faith, who are the joys of her life. Her strong family values are rooted in the enduring marriage of her parents, who have been together for over 52 years. A passionate advocate for self care, and Luciana turned her love for journaling into a business by creating a self care journal designed to help others navigate challenges just as it helped her. This endeavor has opened doors for her speaking and engagements, as well as the formation of a sister to sister chat group for women and the treasures of faith, empowerment, and journaling workshop for young ladies aged 12 to 18. In addition to her professional and advocacy work, Luciana is a mompreneur, managing her daughter's upcoming lip gloss line and self care kit, as well as her son's refreshing lemonade venture. Recently, she authored a children's book titled Faith in Elijah's Affirmations from A to Z, inspired by her children. Luciana holds both a bachelor's and a master's degree in social work from Cleveland State University. Her personal mission is to establish multiple mentoring and self-care facilities that foster hope, promote a healthy, safe image, promote a healthy self-image, and equip individuals with essential life skills. Driven by her own experiences, she is dedicated to bridging mental health gaps for young girls and women. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Miss Luciana Adams.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. I do not own the rights to this, but I just want to come pump some things up this morning because all of you are enough and you matter. So let's listen. I want you to listen to this and come with me here. Mm-mm, 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 mm-mm.
We can't hear anything. We can't hear anything, Lucy.
You can't hear
Share your sound as well as share your computer sound too.
Now that's just rude now this morning. This music I want to because I'm every woman. That's what I'm playing. I'm every woman by Whitney Houston. Because you are every woman. You are special. You are enough. We are. So that's what was playing. I don't want to prolong the time because this uh-oh, did I get knocked out of here? Yeah. Oh, there we go. Sorry, my screen went off. All right, so I don't want to prolong the time with the music. I just wanted to know that you are every woman. And so, what I want to come to you this morning, and I'm talking about there is life after pain. And I know that also well because I have a lot of traumas and experiences that I have been through since I was a child. And that's what I want to share with you this morning, and how I overcame because I've been through a lot. And so I want to start. I'm gonna take you down the lane with me. And as when I was a child, I went through rejection. I was sexually abused, and it started the frame of who I thought I was. And it created that little journey of my life. So when I was being, let me go back a little bit. Let me start here. I was in a home where there was domestic violence. It wasn't me, but it was parents. And I had to watch this. I had to experience this. I had to see this. I had to live this life. It was hard. It was very traumatic. It inflicted fear in me, doubt, insecurity. It was just really hard. Where I'm supposed to have my safe space, it wasn't a safe space for me. It was fearful. It brought forth just tears. Um, and so it was very hard. And on top of that, as a child, so I'm dealing with that on top of now being sexually abused by people that was supposed to be protecting me. They were supposed to teach me, guide me, mold me, but yet and still they was taken from me. What was supposed to be my purity, they stole that from me. So my life was hard. And so as a result of that, my behavior started. Only place my life didn't change is when I was in school. When I was in school, I felt like that was my safe space. I put everything into my education where I was like straight A's with everything in the elementary to the point that they put me up, but I'm not going to go there. I want to, but when I didn't feel it, that safe space in home, in some family places where it took place, it did not. The sexual abuse did not take place in my home. I want to reiterate that. But outside of home, with family that should have been protected, I was the little younger family member, and I'm gonna be careful on what I say, just because I don't know certain family members that may be watching this, and I don't want to inflict anything if they don't know. However, I will go there, and instead of you just spending time, you know how you just spend time with family. I'm that one you taking in your room, violating, manipulating to making me feel I was okay. I was in single digits. I was not, I was younger than you. I was about 7 when it first started. And it was very hard. But at that time, I didn't really know what was going on with me. And so it went on for some years. And it started reacting. I started acting out. Most people playing when they kids, you play with your dolls and stuff. I was mutilating my. I was seeking out attention that I didn't know how to express as a child. So I expressed mine through action. So my action was to mutilate the doll. My actions was to have behavior. My actions was one to set a garbage can on fire and the floor. Try to set it on fire because I'm trying to get this attention. I was being labeled as bad instead of somebody taking time out to stop and say, no, that's not her normal. What's going on? You know, when we were younger, it was whatever went on in this house stayed in this house. We weren't going through therapy. Back then, it was known as shrinks, if you will. We wasn't doing that. Well, that type of attitude and mentality made a difference in my life for the work because I wasn't helped. I was looked over in that matter and I wasn't paying attention to. Now, while I'm going through this, it's still domestic violence going on. So whatever was going on here, I was kind of like, you bad, like we'll talk to you, you'll get your troubles, your disciplines, but this is what's going on here. So what I'm going through is pretty much being overlooked. So I'm just going through this throughout my life, and it made a ripple effect, a snowball effect on how the rest of my life went, going on and going on. Um, the young lady that just was speaking, I understand that how now you looking for love in all the wrong places. That was me looking for love in all the wrong places because what I'm searching for something that I'm feeling, but I don't know what that was. So when I got probably around 12, I started writing, which now I know is journaling. Then I didn't because I didn't have that someone that I felt that I could communicate with to be able to express what I was going through. So I would just write what I was feeling, what I was feeling. And I would just write, write, write. And so then, but still going through this, still going through these experiences to the point now if I'm asking for something, it will have to be exchanged for a sexual favor. Like I'm just going through all this stuff. And then so then attitude, the anger, the frustration starts building up, like going through different things, experiencing different things, and, whether it's bad relationships, whether it's just like I understand can relate totally again with not being alone. Never wanted to be alone. Went from relationship, relationship, relationship. It wasn't until I was an adult, fully probably in my 30s, was the first time that I've probably never been alone out of a relationship because felt like I needed that attachment because I was searching, I was yearning for something that I didn't understand during that time that I needed in my life. So, and then when out them relationships, going in these relationships, I'm still finding that what I needed from my dad, I'm looking for in men. And I wasn't getting that. So I'm cycle, repeating the cycle, which now all this is still snowballing into what I'm experiencing. Now I'm starting to develop anxiety to the point it started off as I'll be sitting here. Now I can't breathe. I got to run outside to catch my breath. Or, the heart started beating rapidly. And then I'm like, at this moment, as a young child, that made me nervous. I'm like, but I never told anybody what I was experiencing because once again, whether it's my mom, whether it's my dad, whether it's anybody, because I didn't have that connection and I didn't feel that I could. Because I'm like, if you didn't see what I was going through and understand, then this ain't gonna be important. I'll figure it out. And so I was going through that to the point one time it got so bad. This was, over the years, I had anxiety so bad that when I had a bad anxiety attack, I was at work, I couldn't breathe at all. They had to call an ambulance. It was just bad because it just went on and on and on of everything that I was going through. And throughout the years, without relationships, even I married back. I was married and I married for the right reason, but the wrong person at the right time, wrong person. To the point now I'm divorced, but I went through all of that still. I think everything I was learning from my dad, I married, dated wrong. And it was just bad. I went through some physically abusive relationships. We're fighting physically. Once again, all of them are still coming over. Still went through the same thing. And it was very, very, very hard and very tough to be able to continue to go through this and trying to find my life, trying to find my way, trying to find out exactly how I'm going to get through, even trying to just find out who I was. At this point, I had no clue. I went through what, like I said, high school, elementary, junior high, major work, doing well. Then I got into high school and I started doing things that didn't make sense. And to the point that I just kind of started veering off doing my own little thing. And to the point when I got to the 12th grade, I literally had to stop and make up a whole lot of classes in order to even graduate with my class at that time because I had this dwindled down. Then and it went well. I graduated on time. I got everything back up to the point that got accepted into NYU. My oldest brother at the time was gone away to college. My high school years, when I was in home, it really was bad. Dad had moved out. It was just me and my mom, but she lived her own life. It was like I had to still once again figure out. And parents teacher conference, all that stuff, they couldn't even tell you one teacher that I didn't have that type of support. I played sports, didn't have no type of support system. It's always me figuring it out. So once I was graduating, got accepted to NYU, but my counselors at school helped me. I felt like they got my older brother off, but when it came to me, it was like I had to figure it out. So I wasn't able to go to NYU because I didn't have that support. I didn't have the help. So I got out and I just did some other stuff trying to figure out my life. It wasn't in, and then I got off into some bad stuff, gangs. I was in a community gang. This, I wasn't really too bad, but I was just getting involved in the wrong things because I wasn't directed and or instructed on what to do. I had to figure it out. And I've always been in that mode of having to figure out my own. And so I made a lot of mistakes before I can get it right. I am was clinically diagnosed with PTSD and severe depression. And that led my life for a lot of years. And to the point that I was like, I don't like this feeling. I this is not me. This is not. I know I'm got to do something greater than this because I did not like that feeling. So where it started turning around for me, I started church and I started like having to trust in God because one time, and I don't want to go too much into this, but I had we was outside with my few of my friends. Car came along, asking some questions, and was that time they parked, turned around, came back up on us, and when they was coming, we felt like this gonna be we better get out of here because this don't feel right. And we glad we all ran and went our different ways. Because when they came back, they just started shooting. And I went to this house. It was this house on the street that we was, and I went behind a car. My other friends fled across the street because it was a field, and they just started running. And so they just came. We didn't know the people at all. It was two young men. We didn't know them at all. And then they just started shooting. And I was like, oh my God. At that moment, I was like, I need to turn my life around because this was a lot. And so I did. I started going to church and it started the process of me breaking down some of the things. It took some years because I had built up a lot because I had experienced a lot. I went to school I started school for business. I quit. I started school for nursing. I quit. I went back for business. Then I quit again because it wasn't fulfilling. I was getting something out of it, but I still did not feel fulfilled. And I was just felt so lost trying to find my way. And then it wasn't till later on I started working in behavioral health. And then I felt my love because in spite of all of this that I was went through, I have a real big thing with loyalty. If anybody know me since I was a child, I have a real big thing with loyalty. Um, and I always had like people that would come and tell me they personal stuff. And I didn't understand why, but which I do now. And so when I went through that process, I was like, okay. So I started working in behavioral health, and then I started working in groups. I was like, I felt connected with my passion. So I still, in terms on the back end, was letting God heal me and break down everything I needed in me over the years. So I was able to get my healing and what I needed for strength, for purpose. And it took some years, but it finally got to the point that God healed me and was breaking down barriers, breaking down walls, strengthening me, and to the point that I was like, I'm going to go to school for social work because I want to be able to help people. I want to be able to um, pour back into them and help them how I was helped. So I said, that's what I am going to do. So I went to social work, and this was in my 40s. So my life began for me in my 40s. I was like, my life began for me in my 40s. So this is where my life began, and this is how I've overcame like different things and how God has helped me and strengthened me over the years. So through divorces, through everything that I have been through, um, and I'm so grateful for the path that God has brought me along on because it has put me in contact with so many people. It has helped me to encourage and be encouraged, to strengthen and to be strengthened over these years, and let me know that there is life after pain. I did not have to let that be the guide of my entire life, where there is a change and there is a difference that can come, and there is a difference that did come. So I was so excited about that and just how God just transformed my life because I just totally submitted my life to Him. And I just watched year after year, day after day, month after month, how my life was transformed and it has changed into blossom into something so beautiful and that I'm so grateful for. So and how I was able to overcome so much adversity and traumas in my life and not let that be the guide of my life. Um, so and it started also with being able to forgive because I wouldn't have been able to move forward and go forward without forgiving others and also forgiving myself for everything that I have experienced. And once I went through forgiveness and was able to forgive, my life changed for the better. And I am so forever grateful. So um that is that is my story and how I overcome and overcame, and how I want to encourage everyone, every woman, that there is life after pain. You don't have to stay where you are because it is, you can get up and turn around, and there is a difference. There is a light. There is a joy. There is a whole nother you to connect with, to understand who you are and what your purpose is, the joy that comes out of it. And I'm so grateful. And I just want to be able to encourage you to be the difference, make the difference, and know that in spite of anything that you are going through, whether it was abuse, whether it is divorce, whether it's any type of mental like anxiety, I've been there and I know that there is definitely life after the pain. So I just want, and rejection, because I went with understanding what that feeling of rejection is, of not having them parents there or them, whoever your support system is or your guardian, to be able to impart and be there for you. So I went through rejection, so I know what all that is. But I know that that does not have to be the guide of your life. So I want to and just encourage you, send you so much love to stay and just say that there is life after pain, and you matter and you are enough. You don't have to try to level up to no one but who God created you to be.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Lucy. I have a question. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Lady Poet. You have organizations that are geared to helping young women um, with what they're dealing with. Can you talk a little bit about that and give us a way to contact you, reach you, anybody who might benefit from your program? I know her personally, so I know what this woman can do for the community, and she is a powerhouse. And is there anything that you could share that would help anyone who's in need or anyone who might be looking to find something for their daughters? Because if my daughter was at that age, I'd definitely throw her in your program real quick.
Thank you. Absolutely. So one of the things that I do is as one of the programs that is called Treasures of Faith. And it's for young ladies between the ages of 12 and 18, 18 if you're still in high school. And we don't counsel, but we set up a platform where we encourage, we talk about boundaries, we talk about image. Each week, it's a 10-week program that we come together and we empower young ladies. I know here in Ohio, we used to have, when I was in school, home economics, where we just learned the basics. I don't even think they even offer that anymore. So we're going back to the basics. We even do etiquette. We teach them etiquette, the proper table setting, how to sit, how to dress for success. So we talk about a lot of these things and go over a lot of these things in a 10-week program. There's also, and I'll give the how you can reach out to me. And also we have sister to sister. Sister to sister, as my sister and I started this back during the pandemic. We went live on Facebook during the pandemic, just sharing our stories because although that's my biological sister, we met when she was 13 and I was 23. And so from there, and we had our own side stories of what we experienced in life. So we went on live and we started sharing our story. We started talking about our story. And then we had different women that would reach out to us and was thanking us for sharing our story, for being so transparent. And as a result for that, we said we need to keep this going. So we kept it going into on Facebook. And then when we were able to come in person back together, during the pandemic when we was able to stuff start opening up, we started coming together with the women in person. And here 4 years later, we're still coming together with the women. We created a platform where you can be transparent, you can share, you can be encouraged. We cry, we laugh. And it's like we go to the back, you go to different events and then these huge events, there be the women in the back and their voice is not heard. We want the women that the voice is not heard. We pull them, we allow them to come in here. We want to hear your voice. We want to hear what you experience so we can love on you, encourage you, support you in any kind of way, and let you know that you're not alone. You matter. And I'm big on self care. I'm big on encouraging women. I'm big on being able to tell them because when we start the class, you have to pull out a mirror and say, I matter and I am enough because and repeat that to understand how important you are. It don't matter what everybody else say about you. It don't matter what everybody think about you. It does not matter what this image of society think that they want to try to keep you in this. No, you are enough. God did not make no mistakes when he created you to the point that he know how many follicles you have on your hair. He created you and sculpted you perfectly. You don't have to be anybody else except yourself. So we let them know we come together. So this is 4 years we have been doing that. And so I'm excited about that. So now we have collaborated with a group called Men Talk. So sometimes we come together now with men so they can be able to we can hear how they're feeling so they can be transparent. So we kind of give the voices of the men and the voices of the women. And so we can come together to see, to talk and see from their point of view and our point of view. And we come together and it's been phenomenal. And then my books, I have Faith and Elijah's Affirmations from A to Z. We teach our kids how to learn the alphabets. A is for apple. Mine is A for amazing. B for beautiful. C for confidence. So mine is your A. You learning while being encouraged with your affirmation. I have the journal once again that helped me in my life. So I created one to help other women or men, not limited, to be able to come and write, free write. In there is watermarked, you matter. You have to do something for self care, and you have to do something for the self affirmation. So before you write it, it's a space that is your self care that you're doing and your self affirmation. Because if you're not taking care of you, you're not going to be good for anyone else. Just like the airplane, if something goes on, you have to put on your mask first. You have to secure yourself to be able to help the next person. Same here. You have to help yourself in order to help them. And then the last one is Diary of a Woman. That is another book that's out. You know, it's getting ready to come out actually, that I am a part of, an anthology. It actually launches tomorrow. So I am excited about that. That launches tomorrow with six other beautiful women that we did the anthology. So that launches tomorrow. So I'm excited about that. So I'm just really excited about what God is doing in my life, to be able to be and give back to others how someone else helped me. And, it may have been that teacher, or it may have been a stranger. It's been more strangers and people I'm meeting through divine connections that have poured more to me, or my pastor, um, then, or, my sister, have a great connection with her. But it been that small pillar of people that made a difference in my life. So I was like, I'm reaching back. I don't want to not, because how I came out, I'm gonna show you how to come out. I'm gonna show you I'm coming back. Or if I can't, I don't have all the answers, and I don't proclaim to have all the answers. But if I could say one thing to encourage you, that's what I want to do. Fulfill a mission of just being a blessing to someone
Thank you so much, Miss Lucy. And if you can put your any way to contact you in the chat, I will put it in the YouTube. Beautiful message. Beautiful message.
else. It is my
I
favor by
appreciate you more.
favor. I'm sorry, it's my favor by faith across all boards, whether it's IG, Facebook. My email address is myfavoritebyfaith@gmail. My
My
website is
favorite.
myfavoritebyfaith.com. My favor by
Okay,
faith.
by faith. Okay, I'm gonna make sure everybody gets that information. Thank you so much, Miss Lucy. You guys just don't know. This woman is powerful. She doesn't really see the power that she has. I'm so grateful that she decided to come and share her beautiful, beautiful story on this show. I mean, on this summit, because I mean, as you can see, it's power. I know that it goes deeper than that because we only have limited time, but we're gonna get her whole story. She's gonna be on my podcast, you guys, so you guys get to hear it in depth. So just wait, just show up. So I have I just realized that a portion of my intro had been cut off, and it was a lot of information, including a trigger warning. So I want to kind of go over that real quick and go back. And actually, some people just showed up. So welcome, welcome, welcome to everyone who just got into the Fearless and Flourishing Summit, and those who've already been here who may have heard this. I am PJ. I am a woman who was silenced, but now I stand boldly by my truth. I am a coach. I'm a holistic trauma informed coach. I'm an advocate for those who are still silenced. I'm a speaker. I am someone who is sharing my voice, and I'm also the founder of this event, this summit, which is a movement where women from all walks of life come together. They share their voices. As you can see, we've had two beautiful women so far. We have one more coming up in a few minutes to share their stories, share their strength. I started this because I was silenced. I was told to keep it in the house. I was told that my story didn't matter. I was made to feel worthless. I was made to feel like I wasn't worthy of love. I wasn't worthy of support, but that's not true. So I I made this a community of survivors and thrivers. I didn't make this community. Let me take that back. I joined this community of risers and thrivers to help share my story because I wanted to share about the road that I've walked down. And I know what it feels like to feel like I am nothing. I know what it feels like to question myself. So I want us all to come together and help each other rise as a community. I also would like to, again, acknowledge that the topics during this summit will be sensitive. They touch on trauma, they touch on resilience and personal struggles, and some stories may include sensitive things such as abuse, violence, or coming specific types of adversity. So if you feel that you need to step away, please step away. Please honor your space. We will honor your space, and we ask you to do the same, because you are not alone. You are in this community that supports and uplifts each other. If anyone feels overwhelmed, please seek the support that you need, that is right for you. And let's move forward. Let's respect each other. Let's understand our healing journey. Honestly, you guys, let's remember why we were here. We are here. Let's remember who we're doing this for, which is ourselves, not for our children, not for our husbands or our partners. We're doing this for ourselves, and let's remember who we love. We love us. There's nothing wrong with that. So I'm going to hand it over to Miss Amanda, Lady Poet. I'm sorry, I'm not good with the stage name, you guys. I know that these women all personally. So Miss Lady Poet is going to introduce our next guest. If we can get her on we're going to put her on. There we go.
Okay, I'm here. Thank you so much, PJ. And again, I am Amanda, Lady Poet Speaks Harris. We have come together and joined forces. I do run a podcast called Open Letters to a Survivor. And so we'll talk more about that later. So thank you for having me here today, PJ. And I have the awesome pleasure of introducing someone who I've met on our last summit, who's been kind of like family since we've met. I talk to her often, more times than I think, is normal, but we talk often and I love it. So before we get started, I do want to put a trigger warning that this presentation may include sensitive topics that may be triggering. Please take care of yourself and step away if needed. I have the pleasure today of introducing Miss Linda Henderson. Her journey is one of immense courage, resilience, and unwavering love. After experiencing the heartbreaking loss of her daughter in an automobile accident in Canada, Linda was faced with the unimaginable reality, one no parent should ever have to endure. Yet, through the depths of her pain, she found a way to honor her daughter's memory and bring comfort to others walking in a similar path. Approximately a year ago, Linda connected with Austin Sunshine Foundation and the Fingerprints of Grief Community Group, two organizations committed to supporting those who have lost loved ones in their communities. She found she found a peace a place to stand with others who truly understand the depths of grief. Since then, it has been a privilege to walk along her on this journey, one that no one expects or chooses, but that binds hearts together in shared understanding and experiences. Linda's unwavering strength and dedication to helping others navigate the heavy path of grief is a testament to her incredible resilience. She is a guiding light for those who have felt lost in their sorrow, showing that while grief never disappears, it can transform into something meaningful. Through her walk, she reminds others that they are never alone and that even in loss, love endures. As an author and speaker, Linda uses her voice to bring awareness to the profound journey of grief. She openly shares the raw and emotional realities of loss, while also shining a light to the possibilities of healing and remembrance. She understands that grief is not something that is to just be moved on from, but rather a journey to be carried with strength and love. Through her writing and speaking engagements, she offers a space for those grieving to feel seen, heard, and understand. So, without further ado, I present to some and introduce to others Ms. Linda Henderson.
Guess I should take my auto mute off. Thank you so much, Amanda. I want to say, first of all, with the podcast that we did last Sunday, are you the one that wrote that poem, the introduction?
Yes.
You are amazing. Thank you so much. Before I even did the podcast, you brought me to tears. Amazing.
Oh.
Thank you so much for that introduction with the podcast, and thank you so much for this introduction now. Thank you, PJ, and thank you to all the team for inviting me here. My name is Linda. A little bit about myself first. I'm 70 years young. I am happily married for 28 years to the most amazing man. We have a blended family of 5 grown adult children, 4 here on earth and 1 in heaven. We have 10 grandchildren and 5 great-grandchildren. And I have 2 little puppies that are lively, that keep me happy. I am a retired nurse of 37 years. And yes, I'm an author and quite proud of it. Didn't think I ever would be, but about 9 years into my journey, I wrote my book, The Road of Love and Hope. It is a memoir about child loss, my journey of child loss and grief. And last but not least, I am a bereaved mom. My daughter, Andrea, was 27 years old, and I say she was at the prime of her life. She had fell in love, had that beautiful wedding, dream wedding. They built their house. They started their family. She had a 2-year-old little boy, and she was pregnant with her second child. And she had her career. She was a social worker working with the youth of our community, girls between the ages of 13 and 17 who had been through the foster system. And this was kind of like the end of the road for them. So she was working at a group home, teaching them to be good citizens in society. And she was in charge of their literacy program, and she taught them their reading. And she was very good at it. On December 20th, 2011, Andrea and her coworker were out in the community with a couple of girls, and they had raised money for the girls had raised money, and they were going to be adopting a child. And they were very proud of these girls. They had just left a message with their boss, the head office, and said, look what we've done. These girls have raised money. They're flourishing. And so they were returning to work about 3 blocks away from their place of employment. And they were stopped in their vehicle. Andrea was a front seat passenger, and her coworker was the driver. They were stopped waiting to turn left when a transport truck driver who was texting and driving, distracted on his phone, hit them, pushed their vehicle into the oncoming traffic, where they were hit yet again by another vehicle, T-boned. My daughter, Andrea, and her coworker were killed instantly. That is the day that my life was shattered on the ground before me. I did not know how I was going to go from one breath to the next. I wanted to die. I wanted to be with her. Wherever she was, I wanted to be with her. And I did not know how I was going to make any movement forward. So we need to understand a little bit about grief. Grief is a whole body experience. It has an impact on our body, infiltrates every cell of our existence. It impacts us emotionally, physically, cognitively, socially, spiritually, and in every way possible. Emotionally, I cried all the time. I cried endless tears. I suffered from PTSD, complicated, prolonged grief, depression, anxiety, anger, guilt, all of those things. Emotionally, an entire wreck. I felt like I was detached. I felt like I was experiencing an out-of-body experience, standing outside, looking at the world, and everybody was moving, and I was just frozen. Cognitively, total, complete impairment from grief. Can't even make a sentence, can't put 2 words together, forget everything, can't remember the last time you had a drink of water, can't remember the last time where you put anything, cognitively a mess. Physically, we could have physical ailments of diabetes, high blood pressure, or other situations, but when we're in grief, our physical body is really non-existent. We don't think about our physical bodies. So we're so wrapped up in the emotional trauma and turmoil that we forget to take the medication, and we either eat too much or eat too less. And so physically our bodies are impacted in a big way. Socially, I didn't answer my phone for 6 months, six months probably. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I had one friend that kept calling me, and I couldn't get on the phone because I was in my world of trauma, and I don't want to talk about the weather. I don't want to talk about the fact that you went to the mall, and I'm not interested in those things. And don't invite me for dinner because I don't want to go and just act like, I'm part of your world. This is my world. So I isolated myself, and it becomes a very lonely world. Complete impact. But we need to remember that grief is not linear. There's no timeline. And so there is no right way to grieve, and there is no wrong way to grieve. And we also need to remember that grief is as unique as our fingerprint. We all come with a different story. We all have different circumstances. We all have different reasons for our trauma. We have different personalities, different experiences in the past. So our grief is personal to us, as unique as our fingerprint. It's also essential to know that we are not alone. I didn't know that in the beginning, but we are not alone. There are many people on this road of grief and trauma, people that are ahead, people behind, people with us, different seasons of grief, different time frames of grief, but we are not alone. There's a whole community out there just waiting for you to connect with them that understand, and that's the big thing, that understand. The loneliness that you feel inside, the loneliness for your person, that's individual, but you are not alone. And then it's important to know that you're not going crazy. I always like to give that message because in that first year, I thought I was going crazy. I said to my husband, I don't know what brain damage feels like, but I feel like I have brain damage because I couldn't think. That fog, that confusion hovered over my brain, and I felt like I was going crazy. And I was afraid because I didn't think I would get my mind back. So we need hope. And in the darkness and in the devastation, and if someone had said to me and talked to me about hope, I would have told them that they're crazy. There's no way. There's no way I'm going to get through this, and there's no way I'm going to see the light in this darkness. But hope is the anchor in the journey of grief and trauma. Hope isn't about expecting the pain to disappear or vanish. It is that quiet, silent wish and desire inside that says, this afternoon may be better, tomorrow may be better. And so it is the key to resilience and rebuilding, but we need to be motivated and determined to make those small actions that move us forward toward hope. The magic is believing in ourselves. We have the power within. We all have the power within. I didn't know it, but I found out that I have the power within. I'm stronger now than before Andrea. Never thought I would say that. That's a woman moving from I can't breathe one breath to the next to saying that I am so empowered now. But grief is hard work. The power's within, and we have the key to unlock that power. And how we do that, through my journey, I thought to myself, I need to figure out a way to frame up what I've been through, to put a framework to describe how I've gotten from that day to 13 years later. And I came up with what I call the triple A. And it's acknowledge 3 pillars of hope: acknowledgement, action, and appreciation. And starting with acknowledgement is basically the hard work of grief. You need to acknowledge the reality You need to acknowledge and feel everything that grief gives you. You need to feel the depression. You need to cry those tears. You need to shed those tears. You need to express the anger, the anxiety. There's many times, even now, when I find myself at a grocery parking lot, and for whatever reason, a trigger comes and it triggers an anxiety attack. Grief is very unpredictable. And so I can just feel it coming on, the nausea, the shaking, the weakness. Oh my God, I don't feel good. And then it starts, and the tears, and then the anger. And I stay in the car and I hold on to that steering wheel and I scream and I yell and I let grief have its way. And I acknowledge that it's happening and I face it head on. Take some deep breaths, do my deep breathing, and then I'm okay to face the next hour, the next afternoon. But acknowledgement is so important. It is the hard work of grief. And as I said, because grief is not linear and grief is forever, you need to know that you can take your time. And that brings us to the next pillar, which is actions. I call action hope in motion because it helps move us towards hope. And we start by tiny, small, achievable goals. And whatever that looks like for you, it could be that you had a glass of water and you didn't cry for an hour. It could be that you stepped outside the door and you felt the warm rays of the sun and looked at the blue sky. Whatever those actions are for you, it could be that you made your bed or that you fed your pet and gave them water. All of those small actions that we take are necessary and the first movements towards hope with the acknowledgement, because it moves us from the negative, dark moment of pain and suffering into a positive, into the positive light of life, into the reality of the present, the here and now. And even if it's just for a few moments at a time, we can build on that. And those small actions can later be bigger actions, like setting up a little memory thing in your home, lighting a candle, going into the community, volunteering, reaching out for support to your friend, to a support group. It starts small with those small achievable actions. And then we celebrate the wins. I remember my husband would come home and say to me, "So when's the last time you showered?" "I don't know." "When's the last time you brushed your teeth?" "I don't know." So then I decided that I needed to write things down because, of course, I can't remember. And I would write down shower this afternoon. And if I achieved that goal and showered, when he came home, I'd be saying, "Guess what? I showered today." So we need to celebrate those small wins. So when you set that goal and you achieve it, be proud. But then also remember that you have to allow for setbacks. And that's normal and that's acceptable as well. There are many days when I still can't achieve much. I wake up in the morning, it's like, okay, today is the day where I have to go back to bed. And that's okay too, because that's all part of the journey. And then when we acknowledge the reality, we face the grief, we work through it, we set those achievable goals and actions, we move ourselves from the darkness to the light. That allows appreciation, the third pillar of hope in my journey. That allows for appreciation for life. Grief is ugly. Grief is messy. Grief stole my daughter. Grief stole part of my existence. But grief is a teacher, and grief has taught me many things. And one of the most important things that grief has taught me is that life is a gift. Life is a gift. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow may never come. The gift of now, the gift of my life right now, this time frame that we have right now, this present moment, is what we can control. So it's what we do with that. And I use my senses to appreciate life. When I'm at the beach and I feel the sand between my toes, that's appreciation for the here and now. And I talk to Andrea. I appreciate nature, everything around me. When we're out camping, I take pictures of everything. I embrace the moments. One of my other mottos is embrace the moments, cherish the memories, and hope for tomorrow. But I embrace those moments, and I'm taking a picture, and my husband says to me, and you know that's a weed. And I tell him, but yeah, look at that beautiful purple blossom on that weed. That's appreciation. So when we learn to appreciate and value the little blessings in life, we nurture the appreciation, we are nurturing hope. And my thing is that I tell myself every day is that I am brave. I am courageous. I am resilient. And we are fearless and flourishing women. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Linda, for sharing your story, and it impacts and touches everyone. I'm sorry, go ahead, Lucy.
Oh, no, no, no. I'm sorry. I was scratching my forehead. I apologize.
Oh, okay. I saw you come off of mute. That's the reason. So thank you so much for always be willing to share your story and just speaking. We love you as Open Letters to a Survivor and our family. You're part of our family too. So we love you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's my honor to be here. And happy International Women's Day to us strong women and all the other strong women out there.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you. And happy International Women's Day to all the women that are watching today. So we thank you. Again, I am Amanda, Lady Poet Speaks. I am from Open Letters to a Survivor, and I have my co-host, Kay Love, which is Kimberly Lloyd, and our affiliate co-host, who is a sister to us, Luciana Adams, that we are helping PJ today with the hosting. So thank you, and turning back over to you, PJ.
Oh, thank you, Amanda, so much. Yes, I'm really grateful for you guys. I have no idea. I'm still learning. I'm still new.
You went back on mute. It's still on. Okay, there you go.
We can hear you now.
Okay, can you hear me? You can hear me? Good, good, good. Thank you, thank you. See, this is why I need my sisters, you guys, because they always there to help me when I'm struggling a little bit. But that's okay because that's part of life, and that's what this event is about. Is even through the struggle, we have to lift each other up. I am trying to get Miss Lady Port off of the pen. So what we're going to do right now is because I don't want anyone to be sitting in front of their laptops for all these hours. We're just going to take a short little brief break, and we're going to come back with actually, yeah, Miss Carolyn. She's our next speaker. I'm going to go grab her, and we're going to keep this energy going. I am so happy to see that you guys are all here with me today, and we're all like supporting each other. And I just want to make sure that I give you guys your time to rest. So 10 minutes, 10 minutes, probably not even that. And we'll be right back to keep inspiring and uplifting. And for the ladies that did come, thank you so much. Some of the ladies came a little bit early, and I thank you so much for listening in. And I hope that we make some connections that are lifelong, because Miss Linda was mine first, you guys. Share the love.
Thank you.
I know I'm joking.
Thank you.
This You're welcome. So thank you so much, and you guys come back in a few minutes so that we can keep this party going.
Thank you.
Hello, 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 everyone. I'm just jumping back on a little early to see if anyone has any questions so far about this event. If anyone has any questions for any of our speakers um, that already had their presentation. I made a mistake. I said Miss Carolyn was next, even though she's a beautiful woman, and I'm excited to hear her speech. Miss Dr. Minnie is actually next. Miss Carolyn is after her. Sorry, lack of sleep, you guys, but that's okay. Empowered women make mistakes too. So, um, I'm going to let the next host come in and do Miss Minnie's introduction. And if she doesn't mind starting like 2 minutes early, we can jump in and get. I see her nine. I see you, Miss Minnie. She's jumping in, and see, that's empowered support. That's what we need. I love this community. So who the next host will be introducing her. We'll jump on and I will jump off and we can get started. And I may be able to get some energy going, you guys, so I won't be making those kind of mistakes. So let's get Miss Lucy on so that she yes, Miss Lucy is also, not only was she a speaker, she's also one of my co-hosts, right? Right? We lift each other up. So Miss Lucy, I'm gonna go on mute and let you have the stage and get.
Yes, this has been phenomenal. Thank you, Miss Linda. Your story always empowers me every time I hear it. Thank you so very much for being able to share. And thank you. I thank you for just the levels you've gone to. I've written down the 3 A's. Yes, 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 yes. Keep doing a great work and changing lives. As I come to introduce this morning, maybe to some, if you don't already know, this phenomenal woman, Dr. Minnie Gupta, is a lead generation and conversion expert with over 20 years of experience in marketing, helping entrepreneurs and business build successful, scalable brands. With a background as a biochemist and adjunct professor, Minnie's scientific approach to problem solving, critical thinking, and persistence fuels her strategies for growth and success. Her comparable journey in healthcare, pharma, and biotech shaped her deep understanding of industry trends, while her MBA equipped her with the business acumen to navigate complex markets. Today, she combines her expertise in marketing with the mindset in coaching, guiding clients to break through limits beliefs, expand their potential, and take aligned action toward their goals. Minnie is a firm believer that it is never too late to start something over. If you have the passion, go after it. Well, Dr. Minnie, it is your floor and platform.
All right. Thank you so much, Lucy, for that introduction. Yeah, I have a story to tell. I think all of us have stories to tell of how we got to where we are. And I'm just so just taken aback by all you women who have spoken before me. And I'm sure the women that are going to be speaking after me, because your stories are so impactful and will affect the lives of hundreds or thousands of people. So I just want to say that, like every single one of you that I listened to, I did get a little tear in my eye. And so I wish you all the best. I know you guys are doing amazing things. So I just wanted to say that first of all. Thank you to PJ and Marissa for bringing me into this event. I'm really thrilled to be here, exciting to be with you, uplifting women that are so inspirational. So my story hopefully will resonate with some of you in a way that's also inspiring, but probably in a different way. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background. And I think if I had to give a title to what I'm talking about today, it is Your Dream Life is Right in Front of You. Just go get it. Okay, so let me just say that again. Your dream life is right in front of you. Just go get it. And I know it sounds really simplistic and sort of trite to say it that way, but I truly believe it. And it's taken me a lot of years to figure that out. And so now I'm trying to impart that to as many people that I speak to, is that it is in front of you. If you have that idea, you have something that's always been in the back of your mind that you want to do, go get it. And I know it sounds so simple, but I hope that today I'll be able to give you some ideas of how you can do that. So first of all, I'd like to just tell you a little bit about my story. I have quite a kind of a circuitous path of connect the dots to get where I am today. And it's taken me a lot of years to do that. But it's a story of basically how we're all on our own journey, right? There's no timeline for us to reach where we're meant to go. Everything that happened before us happened for a reason to bring us right to this point that we're at today. And so when I think about my timeline or my path, it's really made up of 3 phases so far. And I say so far because I don't know how many phases are coming up later, right? We can never predict what our life is going to hold, as many of you have talked about. So right now I can divide it into 3 phases of what I have experienced and am experiencing so far. So like Miss Lucy has said, what initially happened was my first phase, which is basically my academic phase. I pursued science. I ended up becoming a scientist, a biochemist, because I followed a path really that was the right path to follow in my family. I came from a family that believed very highly in education. That was what was approved of, and I followed that path. I ended up going to grad school. I got my PhD. And after that, I got my MBA, partially because I didn't know what I wanted to do with work. So I just continued with school. I basically was in school all the way through my 20s and part of my 30s. And because that's what I was really good at. And I didn't know what I wanted to really do next. So I did know in the back of my mind that there was something waiting for me. It was just out of reach, but I couldn't figure out what it was then. So I kind of put all that thinking in my back burner as I started the next phase in my life. And that was meeting my husband, getting married, and having children. So I met my husband in graduate school, got married, and then we had 3 amazing daughters who I am very proud of. They're all older now. My youngest is a freshman in college, and my eldest is working in her first job. So I started building my career during that time. I worked as a university adjunct professor, as Miss Lucy had said, teaching some classes. I worked in biotech, pharmaceuticals, and then ultimately in healthcare, just building businesses and working in marketing, mainly operations, and doing some advertising for different companies. So then what happened was, well, I have to say that went on for about 20 years. So this is, we're talking about that second phase really went on for 20 to 25 years of me, raising children, getting married, starting to do some work, working on the timeline, really around my kids and what they needed at the time. So as what happens to many of us, we change our trajectory because of something that happens in our life, right? It can be something extremely traumatic, and it may not be traumatic. It may be something that is just a change that you weren't expecting. It may be a ping that went off in your head that was like, okay, this is something now that life is telling me, the universe is telling me that I need to follow this path. So what happened for me is I had a big wake-up call that I wasn't expecting, and it wasn't as dramatic, but it was important and big in our family where my husband fell sick. He was the major breadwinner in our family, and he fell sick. He had severe burnout and depression with his work. And basically that took him out on and off from his work for about a year. There were times where he would come at home and he would just say, I feel like my brain is just full of rocks. I can't think. And in his line of work, if he couldn't think, really, he couldn't work. So that was a wake-up call for me because I thought, what if he never could go back? The first couple months, I thought, well, this is going to turn around and it's all going to be okay. 10 months into it, I started thinking, what if this never changes? What if he can't go back to work? What does that mean for the family? What about the children? How would I get them through it? And how would we get through it as a family? So in many ways, it was a turning point for me. And I thought, I might have to be the sole breadwinner for the family. So that's when that feeling that I had in the back of my head that there was something more for me, and I couldn't figure out what it was for literally decades. I had to finally act upon that. And I took my background in marketing and my business experience, and I decided that I was going to start my own agency. I was going to go out there and I was going to help women also start businesses and grow their businesses. Because it's really interesting, there's a statistic out there that 85% of businesses fail. And it's not because the business owner doesn't have passion with what they believe in. It's usually about something to do with technical aspects of growing a business, understanding the finances, and knowing how to move forward in a way that they may not know. So everyone has their zone of genius, right? You're doing what you're doing because you have a zone of genius and you're following that path, but you may not know the business aspects of how to grow a business. So I wanted to help women in that other technical and automation side of a business and the operation side so that they wouldn't have to quit, so that they could continue, and so they wouldn't be part of that 85% statistic that's there. So I decided I was going to start my own business. I did. I started letting people know that that's what I was doing. I got some additional training that I wanted. And what I help women with now is to figure out what their offer really is. They have an idea of what they want to do, but is it something sellable? So I help them figure that out and package it together in a way that they can sell. I then help them to set up their systems, to sell it, to automate it. And then I allow them to focus on what they're good at, like what is their zone of genius. They focus on that, and I help them set up all the heavy lifting of setting up the system in the back end so that they can get leads. So that's this whole idea of lead generation and conversion. That's what I help people with. So before all that, and what I had to do myself, and now I help my clients do that too, is to tackle what's going on in our own heads, right? Because our great ideas will just remain ideas unless we break free from all those self-limiting thoughts that are always in our heads. And I started thinking about what it was that holds us back as women. And for me, there were multiple different things. And so I'm just going to go through the few things that were my self-limiting beliefs. And one of those was around money. Oh gosh, I can't possibly spend the family's money on myself. I can't spend money to build up my business because the money needs to be saved for this or that. And I was living in what some of you may already know about, but it's called money scarcity. Like money's going to run out, and therefore I can't spend the money. I don't deserve to spend the money. And a lot of that comes from our upbringing and what we were made to think about money. Interestingly, a lot of people think that I shouldn't make money because money's bad. You know, this whole idea of money is the root of all evil. That is something that's ingrained in a lot of people. Like if I make money, then I'm taking it from somebody else, or only bad people make money. And so that's a mindset thing that I had to get over myself. The other thing is time. You know, that's always something that we think about. I don't have time for this. I need to help this person. I need to take care of my parents. I need to take care of my children. I'm working in a job, even though I want to start my own business. I'm tired at the end of the day. We can come up with so many reasons why we don't have the time. Imposter syndrome, which we've all heard about now, is, you know, a big one. I'm not good enough. I don't know enough. The opinions of others. What will my friends think of me? What will my parents think of me? What will my family members think of me if I decide that I'm going to go do this thing? Will they think I'm crazy? Will they think that I am ignoring other aspects of my life to pursue my own passion? And then this whole idea of needing more training. Oh, I can never start because I don't know enough. I need to know more. I need to know more. I need to learn more. I need to read more. I need to listen to more podcasts. All those things stick in our head. So when it came to those items that resonated with me as being my self-limiting beliefs, and some of those may also resonate with you guys. And so what I had to do with each of those was kind of reconcile that in my own head. So as far as money goes, I had to really decide that it was time for me to invest in myself. I had invested in other people for so many years. It was time to invest in myself and see what I could do. I found mentors to help me. I came out of that money scarcity and I realized that I needed to pay money to help me to grow my business. And once I hired one mentor, I hired 2, 3, 4, 5 mentors. And they all have helped me to reach where I wanted to go much more quickly and in a way that I felt that I didn't have to learn it all on my own. I went with people that already had done that. The time factor was, my husband's illness. That was just like a kick in the pants. It's time to move. It's time to do what you were meant to do, because life goes by very quickly, as we all know. And so it was time for me to follow my path. My girls were older. They didn't need me as much. And it was really time. I had to also accept the fact that now was my time. And then as far as imposter syndrome, you know, I had to think about imposter syndrome in a different way. What if imposter syndrome was there to actually help me become better? What if instead of focusing on it as I'm not good enough, what if it was me just saying that I needed to focus on a couple of things and just be better at them? It's not that I wasn't good, it's that I needed to learn a couple of things. And imposter syndrome was just a way to tell me, okay, focus on these couple of things and then move forward. Opinions of others, that's the big one too, right? And I had to finally realize that I have this one life and I had to follow my path. And when it came down to it, nobody's opinion matters except yours. Your voice inside telling you what to do is the one that you have to listen to. And yeah, so and so may not be happy. So and so might think you're being silly, but how do you feel inside? And you have to be so strong within yourself that none of that other noise matters, right? And then this whole idea of, oh, nobody's going to listen to me. I need more training. There are people out there that are doing this so much better than me. So I'm not going to do anything. But what people don't realize is that, if you look at it like a mountain, right? Your client might be sitting down here. And then at the very peak of the mountain is like some guru. Like, let's think of somebody like who is at the pinnacle of his business. And that is like Tony Robbins, for example. He's way up here. There are people down here that just need you who might just be 2 steps ahead of them. They need somebody like you to reach down to show them what they need and help pull them up. Somebody that's way up here sitting at the top can no longer relate to this person down here. But you, 2 steps ahead, 3 steps ahead, 4 steps ahead, are able to reach down to where they are because you were there. And you can reach down and help that person up. So always know that there are people that need you and that are waiting for what you have to offer. It's just letting them know that you're there, right? Not hiding behind anything, letting them know that you're there. So here's what I recommend that you do. Like if you are in this position and you have a lot of these self-limiting beliefs and you're trying to work through them, this is the way that I did it and what I help my clients with. One is to write down each obstacle that's holding you back, kind of like the way that I did, that I mentioned earlier. Write each one of them down, sit with each one, and focus on them with curiosity, not with fear or hatred or insecurity, more like, I see you. Why do I feel this way about you? Think about that. What brought you to that? And then eventually, I'm going to let you go now because you no longer serve me and I am moving ahead, right? And this can take a few days because you have to sit with it. You really have to think about why you think a certain way about a self-limiting belief that you have. And then also write down what your closest friends or relatives would say about your doubts. Would they look at those doubts and think like, oh yeah, you are just not good enough. You need to wait. That you don't have what it takes. Do you really think your best friend's going to say that to you? Absolutely not. Your best friend sees you. Your closest relative sees you for who you are and your gifts. And they're even going to tell you things about you that you yourself may not believe or have accepted or have seen in yourself. So that's another way to think about this. So during my journey of starting my own business is also when I started my spiritual journey of becoming fully confident in who I am and what I have to offer and what the universe has for me. And the universe has messages for all of us. It's just a matter of us realizing and seeing what they are and accepting them. And so I saw that success was up to 3 things. And if you can master these 3 things and then review them every month, it'll help you mentally get to the next step. So what I call the first step is what I just talked about now. It's clearing your head of all your self-limiting beliefs, using those tools that I mentioned, writing them down, thinking about them, and then letting them go. Speak it out loud. Don't even keep it in your head. Speak it out loud, put it out into the universe. When we speak things out loud and can hear them, they resonate a lot more within our head subconsciously. The next step is surround. I like to say surround. So the first step is clear. So clear your head, clear your limiting beliefs. The second step is surround. And by surround, I mean surround yourself with others who inspire you, and put yourself in situations where you have role models around you to show you that, yes, I can achieve this too. And then you'll find that people start showing up in your life when you're ready for them. It's happened to me over and over again when I have an issue that I'm thinking about in my head. And then I tell myself, this is going to be solved for me. I know that this is coming, and you'll meet the right people at the right time. Be open to it, accept it, and they will show up. And listen for those pings. Listen for those pings in your life that are coming and that are around you, but you tend to think of them as just coincidences and you let them go. If you pay attention to them, nothing is a coincidence, right? Things happen for a reason, and become more introspective as to why these things are happening, and pay attention to how the universe is sending them to you in order to make you reach that next step, right? The third step is act intentionally. So you can't just have all these ideas and then sit back and think, oh, now it's all going to come to me. So now you have to start taking the steps. You have to do something to get to where you want to go. So if you want to make 100,000 next year, or let's say you want to make $1 million in your business, or take that trip to Tahiti or wherever you want to go, how are you going to make that happen? So that's the next step, is you have to take those aligned actions, those intentional actions that will set you up for success. You can't sit back and just wait for things to happen. So for me, when starting a business, I had to think, what is my offer? And this is how I help my clients too. What's your offer? How are you going to let people know about it? What's your plan to sell it? Do you know how to do those things? And who can help you get there? Who can help you reach your goals in your timeline? So one of the biggest challenges that I had was thinking that I had to learn everything and do it all myself. Life is not a solo game, right? It takes a team to win a ball game. So think about the team around you. Think about who you need around you to help you reach that point. Don't sit quietly by yourself in the middle of the night wondering about how you're going to get there. Surround yourself with the people, put the team in place that can help you. And I didn't think I'd start a business in my 50s, but here I am. And to be honest, I'm having the best time. I feel like I have been connecting the dots my entire life to reach exactly where I am now. And I know that the same is true for all of you. And for me, it's exciting because I'm also serving as a role model to my daughters. I'm helping women achieve their dreams. My girls know that it's never too late. And one of my daughters wrote a card for me before she went off to college, and she wrote in the card how she was so proud of me that I was following my dreams and doing what I really wanted to do inside. And that made me so proud. And that's why I do it too, right? I do it for my children. So my question to you is, if you didn't have to worry about money, time, the opinions of others, your insecurities, what would you do? Think about that for a minute. And then write out everything you'd have to do to make it a reality. Put it out into the universe, tell a trusted friend, speak it out loud, because then it becomes more real. Then you take a small step every single day to make it a reality. You don't have to jump huge hoops. Just take one small step. And you'll see that your idea and your offer may iterate over time, but that's okay. That's normal. That's what should happen. Look and see what other people are doing in your space. Do your research, figure out what they're doing, and see how you could implement some of that and use them as a model. Speak to other people, join groups. They can be virtual, they can be in your community, and start networking within your various groups to see how you can achieve that. So my message to you today is that it's never too late, right? So life has a way of showing up for you when you're ready. And don't ever think that it's too late, or that you've been doing something for 20 to 30 years and so you can't possibly change now. That is not true. You can change at any point in your life. Linda is such a great example too. That, you know, age is just something limiting also that we put in our own heads. So every single thing that you've done to this point right now, whatever your age is, it doesn't matter. Follow your passion. We have one life to live. Follow your passion, follow your wisdom, and follow your truth. And remember that failure only happens when you quit. It's one of my favorite phrases that I tell my clients and anyone that will listen, is that failure only happens when you quit. So don't quit, move 1% forward a day, and you will ultimately get there. So thank you so much for listening. I'm so happy to have been able to share with you.
Thank you so much for your incredible story. I love the tidbits that you were given about like following our passion and acting intentional, because we think that we're stuck somewhere, but every day you have breath in your body, you do have an opportunity to change that. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yes. I wholeheartedly believe that. I think all of us can do that.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your speech, Minnie. I've been excited to hear your speech since I first met you. So I knew it was going to be something special. Um, I appreciate you taking the time to come and because I know I didn't meet you and we didn't have a lot to go over. So you coming here, it means a lot to me. So I appreciate you so much. Thank you, Minnie.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You have a great day. So we're going to get the next guest on. Who was introducing Miss Carolyn?
Is that Lucy? No?
I believe it's you, Miss Kim.
Is it me? Oh, I thought I had Marissa, but okay, I can do it.
Okay. I mean, I can introduce her right now. Just give me 1 second to pull up her.
Carolyn Murphy. So let me just also say to Dr. Gupta, you are amazing for all that you've accomplished and through all that you were going through at the time that you made the decision to step out on faith and strength in doing what you decided to do, which was follow your passion. With all of the education that you had, you chose another path, and that says a lot about you, and that gives women inspiration that it's never too late. You can do whatever it is that you choose to do as long as you put the good foot forward and try.
Yes.
And that was amazing. Thank you so much for that. And so next we have Miss Carolyn Murphy. I love our women. We are all so smart. Miss Carolyn Murphy is the founder and CEO of Firm Foundations Community Outreach LLC, a dual purpose organization dedicated to guiding individuals through the aftermath of trauma and into a life of healing and wholeness. A survivor and overcomer of both childhood and post-childhood trauma, Carolyn describes herself as a voice in the wilderness, crying out to all that there's life, life on and after the outside of trauma. Her powerful journey, her book, God, why did you save me? And that is a testament to resilience and faith that continues to shape her mission. As the Mind Shift Coach, Carolyn helps individuals shift their mindset, break free from past burdens, and step into a future of freedom and purpose. With a BA in organizational leadership and as a Tennessee certified peer recovery specialist which is a CPRS. She is currently pursuing her MBA to further expand her impact. Through coaching programs and resources, Carolyn equips individuals with the tools they need to transform pain into purpose. When she's not empowering others, she finds joy in cruising, long walks in the park, music, and movies, especially action, drama, and comedy. With a deep appreciation for laughter, she also enjoys stand up comedy, embracing every opportunity to celebrate life. So, without any further ado, we also would like to introduce and welcome Miss Carolyn J. Murphy.
Good morning, ladies. I appreciate the opportunity to be speaking in this Women's Summit. I thank every lady that is sharing their stories, their inspiration, and their encouragement. Especially in a time like these, we need it. Without further ado, the name of my workshop or my presentation is Breaking Up with Fear, Dare to Break Up with Fear. I created a presentation, so I'm getting my son to help me with it. Let's see if we can share it.
Do you need me to make you a host so that you can take control over I can make you the host and you can share your screen and have
Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean, I'll jump in. I'll do that
No,
right
you're
now.
good. I guess the one that to make host is Kaylin. If you can make him host, he's the one that's going to show the presentation for me.
I just put it to you, so you might have to switch it to him.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Well, okay. All right. Let's see. Am I doing this right?
I just did it. I made him host. I just switched it over. So you should be
Switch it
good
on.
now.
Okay. So let me just stop that then. Kaylin, did you do it? Because I can't
Give me
see
one
it.
second.
Okay.
Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. So again, the name of my presentation is Breaking Up with Fear, using the DARE framework. But I also say dare to break up with fear. For years, I let fear control my decisions. Every opportunity that came my way, fear whispered, "You're not enough. You'll fail." But one day, I made a choice. I broke up with fear. I made a breakup decision to break up with fear. And today I want to help you do the same. I'll be sharing my DARE framework. Decide, acknowledge the root, reframe, and execute so that you can take action and move beyond fear. Fear thrives on indecision. The longer we wait, the stronger it becomes. But transformation begins with a decision. You can go to the next slide. If you ever let fear stop you from doing something you know you were called to do, raise your hand. You're not alone. Fear has stopped all of us at the same point. But the difference between those who stay stuck and those who flourish is one decision, the decision to act. I had to make the same decision when I felt fear holding me back from speaking. from showing up, from stepping into my purpose. I had to decide, was I going to let fear keep me small, or was I going to grow? What's one decision you've been postponing because of fear? I want you to name it in your mind right now. Fear doesn't just show up out of nowhere. It comes from somewhere. It has a root. Maybe it's a past failure, rejection, or something someone once said to you. I want you to think about a fear you struggle with today. Now ask yourself, where did this fear start? Did someone tell you that you weren't good enough? Did you fail once and decided never to try again? Take a moment to reflect. For years, I hesitated to speak up because as a child, I was taught to be quiet, to not rock the boat. That planted a seed of fear that stayed with me. Until I uncovered the root, I stayed stuck. The next time fear rises up, I want you to ask yourself, is this fear even mine to carry? Fear is a perspective problem. We see it as a stop sign, but if it's a sign that we're stepping into something bigger, I want you to think of a fear statement you often tell yourself. Maybe it's, I'm not good enough. Now let's flip it. Instead of, I'm not good enough, you can change the slide. Instead of saying, I'm not good enough, say, I am growing. Instead of saying, I'm not ready, say, I'm preparing. Instead of saying, I'm scared, say, I'm excited for the change. I used to say, I can't do this. But one day I caught myself and changed the words. I am learning and I will grow through this. That shift changed everything. Every time fear tells you, I can't, I want you to flip it, reframe it, because fear is just faith in the wrong direction. Most people wait to feel ready before they act. But the truth is, confidence comes after action, not before. I want you to choose one small act you can take today that moves you past fear. Maybe it's sending an email. Go to the next slide. Making a phone call, posting your first video, or saying yes to an opportunity like I just did. Now I want you to commit to doing it within the next 24 hours. Don't overthink it, just do it. I didn't feel ready for my first speaking engagement, but I did it scared. And that's how I grew. Fear will always be there, but the difference between those who stay stuck and those who flourish is simple execution. Take the next step anyway. I could have stayed stuck in fear. I could have let it define me, but instead I dared to move forward, and so can you. If you are ready to break up with fear and step into your purpose, I want you to say out loud, I choose to move forward. Fear isn't a stop sign. It's an invitation to grow. What will you choose? Will you keep waiting, or will you dare to step into your purpose? Next slide. Thank you for everyone that is here to encourage us to step out of our fear and move into our passions. I am done.
Thank you so much, Miss Carolyn. I appreciate that. I appreciate you putting this together. It's so beautiful. I've been actually really excited because the first time I met her, we talked twice. And the first time I met her, you didn't have a lot of time to talk, and she just kind of just was really, really sweet and really kind in her. I could see in her heart that she was just a beautiful spirit, and I just had to have her on the show. So thank you so much. Trying to get the screen back. I think I took it too soon. Let me see. Is there a way I can stop sharing this screen? Oh, okay. It's back. There we go. Thank you so much for sharing. Does anyone have any questions for Miss Carolyn? Um, and also, if you could give your information where anyone can reach you, because I do know you're a coach, you provide a service to the community. All this, everything that you have shared, I would like for you to be able to share with more people. So if I can get that information, you can put it in the chat. I'll make sure I put it in the YouTube chat so that all of our guests can see it, and in the replay they'll be able to get out access to that information.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, and how can we reach you? And I will write that down as a
Carolyn, CarolynJMurphy.com.
.com.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll make sure that is that your name to your website, or just the email, just
My
kind of
landing page, CarolynJMurphy.com.
Thank you so much, Miss Carolyn. I appreciate you so much. And I love that your son is so supportive of you. Miss Linda said that you are very inspirational, and you really are. Like, if we didn't have a lot of time to go into her full story, but she's gone through, she's been through the trenches like the rest of us, and she still wears that smile. That's what I love about you. That smile is always there. And I'm just like, oh, so thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And I appreciate you taking the time, because on this, a lot of bumps and ups and downs, we're still learning and we're still growing. And I'm glad that you're growing and learning with us. So thank you. And you're a proud mom, good son, Mr. Kalen. I appreciate you
Praise the
helping
Lord.
me. Okay, so I am going to, because I was the one that was supposed to introduce the Miss Carolyn. Miss Kim was actually supposed to introduce. Oh, thank you for giving me that web, CarolynMurphy.com. Thank you for filling in for me, Miss Kim. I actually was the one who was supposed to be introducing her, so I'm going to introduce our next guest, but I don't see her yet, Miss Marissa. So what we're going to do is she's going to be so mad at me. Lady Poet, hi. Lady Poet,
I'm
you got
here.
you got something to read for us? Something lined up? Just something quick. Something quick.
Oh, you always pulling me for some poems, so
You gonna
let
beat
me see
me
what
up?
I got for you. That's
You need
no,
to,
I'm not. Maybe
you need to,
later, but no, I'm not.
you
Hold
need
on one
to-
second.
no, not on this. I have all these witnesses, you guys. She's not gonna beat me now.
Yeah, let me find one. Give me 1 second. I got some on my in my email.
Okay, great. I always ask Lady Poet to recite poetry because she has gone through so much. You guys need to check out my YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, Empowered Voices, Finding Strength in Survivors. Those of you who are already on here, some of you guys may catch the replay, but Insights of a Survivor. I have Lady Poet, and she read a poem. She made me cry. And always call her out at the last minute, like, let's get some nuggets, Lady Poet. Let's get some nuggets, because she always has some words of wisdom through her poetry. That's how she expresses her. That's one of the ways she expresses herself is through her poetry, and I love it. She's very talented. She has a book out. Like you guys need to get on with her. Open Letters to a Survivor every Sunday, on YouTube. What's the name of you guys' network that you're on right now?
UG Digital Media Podcasting. So it really stands for Urban Grand Slam Digital Podcasting.
So
So
you can get her there. And oh, Miss Carolyn left. She left some stuff. I'm gonna put it in that chat as well. But
all
yeah,
right,
you
give
can.
me one moment. I'll be having one on.
Miss Kim is on there. Sometimes I co-host. Sometimes you'll see Miss Lucy co-hosting. Miss Sonda's on there. There's a whole group of empowered women, and Mr. Tim, Mr. James, they are on there as well. And
I'm ready.
that show is just phenomenal. So,
Mhm.
Lady Poet, you reach
I'm
me,
ready.
and I'm going to reach out to see if we can find Miss Marissa. And if not, you guys, we're going to be hearing some stories from our beautiful ladies of the Sensational Six, because we have stories as well, you guys. We have stories as well. So I'm going to let
Okay.
you know.
All right. So this piece is titled "Heaven Ain't Abandoned Me Yet." That's it. I'm done. Okay, Lord, I'm tired of the run. I stand here ready for change. I'm learning to be happy despite my pain. I was lost, broken, and bleeding, looking for salvation in dirty things. Out of all of my pain, I was trying to find me. I didn't even have real dreams. I ran from the truth, but it poured from the seams. Even though I had a pause, I had to see my pain to prove I had feelings. I am trying to take back what the devil stole, but the sinner lived in me. I I know God made all things. Looking in the mirror, I saw nothing. I gotta be something because the seeds of Eve still burn in me. Even though I am a flawed beauty, I've learned I can't sacrifice my dreams. I couldn't let my own freedom ring. Today I want to be connected to the King. So today I fight this war to remove the caution tape from this crime scene. I've been sacrificed like field mice. In this sin, we never think twice. I am tired of my story being etched in my face. I've walked through the driest valleys. I am done saying God wrote the pages, wrote my story, but letting the devil flip the pages. I gotta stay in the light because my pain breathes in darkness. I am foolish to fall as I do. Even my victory seemed less satisfying too. I released a lot of secrets because I no longer find comfort in being empty. This fight is just tough. I want to be free more than I want to be stuck. I was casting my own pearls before a swine. I want to be strong, the strong tower that won't break nor bend. Deep inside, the crevices of my soul felt dead. Speaking my truth made my lungs feel like lead. That's what I get for not loving myself. No longer will I deny my own battle scars, done giving myself to incapable hearts. Lord, I prayed this strength to stand the test. After all, I am unaware of what's to come next. I was my own disease because I was raptured in pain and wrapped in sin. With a mind made by God, I have a new place to begin. I will fight the distance of this race. I got to get in depth with my soul because I can no longer be addicted to demons. No longer is it about getting even because out of this ash, I'm learning to rise like the phoenix. God made this wet cement and making roses out of me. The change is coming through me. I know now that healing is my debt, and I'm realizing that heaven ain't abandoned me yet.
That is beautiful. Y'all see why I always put her on blast, right? She always got something that makes me feel so inspired and so uplifted. Um, so that's kind of, I don't even know how to say it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Miss Amanda. We're still waiting for our guest, so I guess I'm going to be the one to speak with you guys today. So, hello. I did not plan to have a speech prepared, but I did want to, thank you all again for showing up. So a little bit more about me, because I get a lot of times, I'm new. I just started this maybe a year ago. This is my second summit, and I'm really excited about that. So what got me to doing this is because I gave a little bit about that is because of being silenced. Growing up, I was taught that women were strong. Women worked. We cooked, we cleaned, we take care of the children, but we also had to accept what was given to us. The beatings, the gaslighting, the being dismissed. And it got to a point where I didn't agree with that. I don't agree with the fact that we have to give so much of ourselves and receive so little in return. And I don't expect it to come from the outside, from within me. I don't need external validation. I used to need it all the time. I used to want it all the time. I needed someone to tell me how pretty I was, how hard I worked, how good a job I've done, even though I know I put that work in. I know I'm the one that had to go through all those nights studying to get the degrees that I have. I know I was the one that was up all night taking my children to the doctor, but I needed someone to tell me I was a good mom and why. That's because of the way we were programmed. And the whole purpose of me wanting to do this is to reframe the way I thought. This is my healing journey. You guys think that we're here to support you, but you have no idea. You're supporting me. You're helping me. You're reminding me of who I am while I'm also showing or reminding you of who you are. So this is what I stand for. This is what Soulful Resilience Journey, my logo, that's what that stands for. It's the soul being resilient against trauma. One of the things that I used to do all the time to help me get over was just one day, one thing good that I told myself, for every one bad thought I had to give myself 5 good thoughts. I don't like the way I look today. Okay. Why don't you, at first I questioned, why don't you like the way you look? Well, because I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. And then I look at myself and I have to find 5 beautiful things I find about myself. You have pretty eyes, you have pretty skin, you have pretty hair, you have, whatever it was. I had to teach myself that for years. I did not have that help. I did not have that support system. This circle of friends that I have now, these women, these beautiful, beautiful women that I'm meeting are people that I have just recently met. So for years, I did it alone. So I didn't want anyone to feel alone. I didn't want anyone to feel worthless. I didn't want anyone to feel like they had nothing to live for. I wanted you to fight because I had to fight. And I wanted you to understand that in that fight is going to be obstacles. There are going to be obstacles. A lot of times we look at an empowered woman and we don't see the story behind what made her empowered, which is why I wanted other women to speak, which is why I had, Miss Carolyn, Miss Minnie, Miss Linda, Miss Darla, everyone come out and share their stories because each story is different. Each story has different obstacles. Each story's had different stories of resilience, things that they had to get through to be who they are today. I'm still walking my path. I'm still learning. I will tell you right now, just even yesterday, with putting the stomach together, I looked at my husband. I said, I want to quit. I want to quit. Did I quit? No. So many times, so many of us get to a position in life where we say, I want to quit. I give up. I want to stop. I don't want to do this anymore. That's not what makes you weak. What makes you weak is to give up. It's to stop. It's to allow the outside sources. And I'm not saying that even is what makes you weak. I'm still working on my verbiage, you guys. But to give up on yourself is that's failure to me. In my opinion, the definition of failure is to give up on yourself. To say I'm going to quit and then actually do it. I quit this platform. I've been doing this since last year, and I quit this platform 5 or 6 times, but every week I show up. Not for you, for myself. I have a life coaching business, Soulful Resilience Journey. I help those who are dealing with trauma overcome that trauma. I help those dealing with grief overcome that grief. I've had to live without my son for 8 years. Miss Linda is the only one who I've ever met that made me feel like I was not wrong for grieving the loss of my child. For still, so you still grieving, you still crying. Who gets over losing a person, let alone a child? This is a whole human being who I loved for so many years of their life and of my life. Of course, I'm going to grieve for however long I need. And Miss Linda was the one that taught me that I can grieve for 30 years if I want, because that's my child. That's my grief. That's my journey. And that's something that we all have to learn about ourselves. You can have your bad days, as many bad days as you need, but then you get back up and you remember, I have a morning routine every day. No one knows this. I'm going to share this with you guys now for 10 seconds. I just smile. Just for no reason. Just smile. Then 10 seconds after that, I think of something that I'm grateful for. Just one thing. I cheat. I'm not gonna lie. I say I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful for all things. But I'm going to start putting in the work and say one thing that I'm grateful for. Another thing I do is I find a quote, something powerful, something uplifting, something, and it doesn't have to be by an empowered woman. We are all empowered women, but there are so many men and women out here who have so much knowledge. And I read that quote out loud, something that resonates with me. And I'm trying to think of the fourth thing that I do. Well, I'll get back to, but there are things that I do every morning to get me up every day. I do it every single day. No one knew about that until just right now. And it helps me. It reminds me why I'm doing what I'm doing. It reminds me that not everybody's going to have an easy day. I'm not going to have an easy day. I used to always say I did something wrong in my past life to deserve the trauma that I'm going through today. I used to say I'm not going to ever be good enough. I used to say I'm not ever going to be worth anything. But now I get up every morning and I say, look at what I've done. Look at what I'm doing. Look at what I'm going to do. Look at everything that I have. Look at all these lives that I'm going to help, these lives that I'm going to touch, these lives. And it's not about being arrogant. It's not about being cocky or conceited. It's about having confidence in yourself and what you can do. I did not prepare a speech, but yet and still I'm sitting here and I'm speaking with you guys because I have to make sure that you guys get what you came for. You came for knowledge, you came for wisdom, you came for empowerment, you came for uplifting. And that's what I'm giving to you because something happened. Maybe my speaker had an emergency, she had to get off and she couldn't come back. But I can't control that. I can only control the here and the now. That is an obstacle that I have to walk over. And I could have easily just said, you guys, I'm going to close this and I'm going to go. No, I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep fighting. Miss Amanda helped me. Miss Kim will help me. Miss Carolyn will help me if I ask, because that's what community and love and empowerment is about. And that's what this is for. I could allow a lot to silence me. I could have allowed a lot to break me, but I did not. I will not. I refuse. So when it comes to me, this is my platform. This is what's most important to me right now, is to make sure that I show you guys that no matter what ups or downs I go through, I'm still going to be right here. I'm still going to do what I do. I can go on and tell you my stories of being abused and being beaten and being molested and being raped and that is true. I have gone through that. I have gone through things in my life where I thought I was going to literally die, but I still got up. As a child, I got up every day. Every night, my mom would beat me. Every day, I would get up, go to school, and do my schoolwork. Go to band rehearsal, go to ROTC drills. And I made sure I did my homework, and I still got up. Even as a child, I knew I couldn't stop. I had to keep going. I had to keep fighting. Why? Because this was my life. This was my life. It wasn't the life of the person that was hurting me. It wasn't the life of the obstacle that was put in my face. It was my life. So whatever outcome I wanted, I had to go and get. And I had no problem with going to get it. No matter how many times someone tried to break me, how many times someone tried to isolate me, no matter how many times someone tried to tell me I wasn't good enough. And it never stops. I don't care how far you are on your journey. Something, someone, somewhere is going to try to make you feel like you are not worthy of the life that you have. I have so many people today who attack me today. I smile. Do I get angry? Yes. But I smile and I just say, okay, thank you. I don't know of any of you guys who are on any of my social media platforms, but I did. I just posted recently that 2 days ago, my mom calls me out of the blue to attack me about this platform. Because of course, now she's hearing that I'm sharing my story. What does the first thing that she tried to do? She tried to silence me. I could have then said, no. I could have done one or two things. I could have gotten really disrespectful with my mother, the woman who birthed me, even though she was my abuser. That is my mother, and I was raised with respect. I could have went off on her. Or I could have said, Mom, you're right. You're right. I'm wrong for telling the story of my life. And I could have respected how she felt about the things that she did to me, about the abuse that she caused me. And I could have just given up. I could have counseled this. I could have refunded anybody. I could have done whatever. And I could have just gave up. But what I did was I stood my ground. I respectfully posted on my social media. And I don't ever post about my personal family business on social media. That's my personal family business. But this time I said, okay, I'm going to do that. And I posted to those who were on my page, who were going back to tell my mom, who was blocked on my stuff. So she only knew because she was being told, hey, I'm not silencing myself. I'm not diminishing myself. I'm not going to put myself back in the shadows because those who chose to try to break me do not like the results or do not like us coming back. It's never to hurt. It's never to harm. It's only to uplift. My hope is that one day she will go get the help that she needs. And if she doesn't, praying for you, mama. But today is my day. Now is my time. I am speaking my truth. I am sharing my story because there are so many people who are in the same position that I am in, who are in the same boat that I am in, who are being told to shh, let me hurt you. There are things I have not even expressed because I'm still worried about how people are feeling, mainly because I don't want what might come back to me, but I am ready for that fight. I'm ready for that obstacle because all I'm going to do is stay classy. Remember my teachings. Yes, Miss Carol, there is a difference between silence and being silent. There's a difference between silence and being silent. Thank you, Miss Carol, and I love that. Because there is sometimes you may not want to speak about certain things and you want to be silent about that. You want to, you'll share when you are ready to share, but when someone is forcing you to not share your story, when someone is making you be silent, they're taking your voice, they're taking your power. And that's why I do what I do. Because I want everyone to understand that your power is yours. You control it. Some of the things that I have in my coaching practices are things that empower you. I have an empowerment package, and we go through every letter of the word empower. EMPOWER. I don't have it right in front of me because again I wasn't prepared. But one of those things are things that you have to do to help you become empowered. What do you want to do? It's a lot of planning. It's a lot of goal setting, and it's how are you going to reach those goals? How are you going to reach the goals of empowerment? The only way you're going to do that is to believe in yourself, to love yourself, to care for yourself. Self-care is not selfish. I learned that in this journey, and I'm going to continue to learn. I'm going to continue to preach that because that is a part of being empowered. That is a part of being proud of who you are. That is a part of learning how to love everything about you, including your past. And that is the only way to release the hold that the past has on you. I'm also wanting to learn. I'm also learning within myself. I can never, everyone is like, release your past, release your past. You can never release your past. That past is there. That is your story. That is a part of your journey. What you can do is release the hold that your past has on you. Release all that trauma. Release all that programming. Release all the things that your past did to you. You can never release your past. I can never undo the things that happened to me. I can never go back and change any of that. I don't want to because that is who I am. That is what made me who I am. And that is, I am proud of overcoming that. That is one of my affirmations that I give myself every day. I sit back and I think of every single thing that I have ever gone through in my life. And I pick some of the worst parts about it. And I sit back and I look at the fact that I survived some of that. And some of those things I survived as a child. Some of us have gone through things as children that we should have never gone through. You heard Miss Lucy's story. She should have never gone through those things as a child, but she survived that. And that woman, until today, I had no idea because she wears her empowerment so beautifully. She always say, I'm trying to be where y'all at. Miss Lucy, I'm trying to be where you at. Because I had no idea. I had no idea what you've gone through until today. And I thank you for sharing your story because what you don't understand is you shared that story that uplifted and empowered me. That helped me. Because like I said, right now I could be panicking. Oh my God, what am I supposed to do? No, I'm going to use this time to help empower someone else. I'm going to use this time to share the fact that, mistakes are going to happen. These are things that happen. And when these things do happen, what do? You just figure it out. You work around it. You come up with a plan B, a plan C. And if you don't have those plans, then you have to deal with what comes every single day and do it with a smile on your face, if you can. If you got to cry, cry. If you want to yell, yell. If you want to punch something soft. Don't break your wrist. Don't break your hands, Don't hurt yourself. I'm not promoting self-harm, but hit a pillow, but get your zen, meditate, breath work. Yesterday, I was in a summit that a woman said, two breaths in, two breaths out. Do that 3 times to kind of reset your brain and stop you from having that anxiety attack. I've never tried that, but that's something else that I could use. I learned tools in this journey that has helped me. Tools that I've found myself, tools that I've gotten from other people. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. Yes, ma'am, that's grounded, Miss Kelly. I love her. I'm saying you guys really need to meet her. Connect with her if you can. I'm going to put her information in the chat once I get through this, because right now is my other speaker's time, Miss Marissa. Again, she was really excited to do this. So I know if she's not here, there had to be a very valid reason, because she would have been here. So what I'm just really, Miss Marissa, if you can hear this, I hope that you're well. Hope everything is okay. But yes, that is grounding. I have to ground myself, because if you don't ground yourself, then you're all over the place. You're all over the place, and you have to be able to focus to get to where you're trying to be in your life. When my son passed away, I was in college. I was in college. Okay, I guess I'll tell you that story. The year that my son passed away, I was going to college to get my degree, because I hadn't been able to go to school. I had to sneak to even finish high school, because my ex-husband was such a narcissistic, jealous, whatever. He wouldn't allow me to go to school. He would not allow me to finish high school. This is a grown man now, and I'm a child. He would not allow me to finish high school because he was afraid that I was going to cheat on him. So I had to sneak to finish high school, and I was not allowed to go to college. So once I was able to free myself from that marriage, the first thing I did when I found out that was an option was go to school online to get my bachelor's degree, because I was always wanting to have a degree. But then about 2 years after I started college, my son passed away. I gave up. I did not have one person besides my 2 younger children, because he was my oldest child. My 2 younger children, we were in a city. We were in Missouri. We did not have one friend, no family member. The people that we did have around us were not very nice people. I'm not going to put out names or things that way, because that's not what this is about. But the people who were around me at that time were so cruel, so mean. I mean, when I say I did not have one person as a support system, not one person. I had to navigate that alone, working a 12-hour job. I'm homeless with 2 children. One's in Job Corps, who I barely get to see him. The other one, she's at home trying to figure out how to grieve the loss of her brother. She's the youngest, and she's the only girl. And this young man, my 19-year-old son, was basically a father figure to her, because I left their biological dad when she was 4. I didn't have any will to live. I did not have any will to move on. I had to find that in myself. And once I did, I stopped. And I had to think, what am I doing wrong? Why, after me leaving my ex-husband for, I think at the time, 6 or 7 years, why am I still going through this? And I had to reframe my thought process. Your son would not want you to give up. He made sure his younger siblings were okay. You need to make sure that they're okay. They are your children. They love you, and they're looking up. So sometimes we have to change the way we think, and it's not going to always be for us. It may have to start with our children, but you have to start somewhere. And I started. About a year after he passed, I went back to college, even though that first year was the worst year of my entire life. When I tell you, I was almost in a homeless shelter with my daughter. I was, barely able to feed her, because even though I'm working 12-hour days, I'm paying 90% of my check to a weekly hotel just to keep a roof over our heads that I'm barely keeping. I wanted to give up. I wanted to die, but I couldn't, because I had something to live for. And once I realized that, I stopped. I grounded myself, because I was not grounded. I was all over the place. I did not have anyone saying, ground yourself, meditate, grieve, cry, yell, scream. I did not have anyone, not one person. And my children were children. What were they going to do for me? My mother, of course, was not there for me. And my sister, who grew up in the same home as me, did not know how to comfort me, because we both grew up in a home of violence and addiction. So, she tried, but it was just me. The people who I would look to for support in the city that I was in, again, they hated me. I don't know why. I think I'm a lovable person. But oh, okay. She said she's tomorrow. I have her down for today. So that was a misunderstanding. Okay. I'm just getting we were back from my speaker who said she's scheduled for tomorrow. I will wrap that up with her later. So I guess we just have this. This is my time, isn't it? So, Lady Poet, give me my 5-minute warning. But so I had nobody. I had nobody to help me learn what I needed to do when I was grieving my child. So I figured it out on my own. I went back to college. I got my bachelor's degree. I started working the dream jobs that I wanted to work. I went back to college and then I got my master's degree. It was just a steady flow. I just had to every day get up, get up. First thing I did in the morning, make up your bed, do something productive, make up your bed, get up, make up your bed, get up, make up your bed. Throughout the day, go to work. Every day, go home. I don't remember which one said it. They had to give them a list of, oh, it was Miss Linda. I had to do the same thing. Okay, make a list. What do you have to do today? You have to take your kids to school. You have to go do this. You have to go do that. Don't forget to cook. If anyone knows me, I cook. I love to cook. But that year, I didn't cook. I stopped cooking. I stopped caring about myself. I only wanted to make sure my children were okay. I didn't care. So I had to start learning how to care about myself. It wasn't even again. I had to learn how to care about myself, period, because I did not love myself. And when I lost my son and everything that I was going through that year, I loved myself even less. My best friend, the person who I thought was going to be my sister for life, I've been known since I was 14, put me out in the streets 2 days after my son died. So when I say I had nobody, but did I let that go? No. I fought until I found Dr. Robin, who taught me about grounding techniques, who taught me about affirmations, who told me how it was someone else who said, you are powerful, you are strength. You did not break. You bent. We bend. We are survivors, you guys. We are thrivers. We don't break, we bend. We don't shatter. We instill fear in those who want to break us. And that is why those entities, the devil, the demons, or whatever is out there in the universe and in the world that is trying to break us, that's why they attack us. Because they don't want to see us do what we're doing right now, which is empower, uplift, love. Because that's the only way this world is going to heal, is if we empower, uplift, and love. And I want to be a part of that healing. I want to show you guys that I will put myself out there because, again, I have no idea what I'm saying. I'm going off of the brain. And I want to show you guys that even in the worst moments, you can still thrive. I don't know if I'm helping anybody today, but I know that I am because I'm saying that I am. I don't know whose life I'm going to touch, but I know I'm touching somebody's. Because somebody needs to hear my story. Somebody needed to hear Miss Amanda's story. Somebody needed to hear Miss Linda's story, Miss Minnie's story. Everybody has a part. I know I said that, but that's the only way community works. And once we fail ourselves, we fail our community. And if we all start dropping off, then where is that going to leave us? We have to be uplifted. So that story about my son, I love my son. That boy saved my life. That boy saved my life. Before I got pregnant, I was with my ex-husband. I was selling drugs because I was a homeless teen in the streets and I didn't have my mom to take care of me. So I had to do what I had to do to hustle. I got pregnant. I stopped. I was in a gang, Miss Lucy. I heard that too. Don't think we're not going to talk about this after this summit, that you was in a gang, Miss Lucy. So was I, though, because you got to do what you got to do. And I had to survive. I had to keep myself safe because of the attacks that I was getting. But when I got pregnant with my son, I stopped all that. So he saved my life. I had to get over the fact that I felt like I couldn't save his because I did save his life. He was here for the time that he was meant to be here. He did what he was supposed to do in my life. And then he went on to graduate to become my angel, to become my protector, to become my guardian, and to watch over me. I am going to cry. I'm sorry because I do miss my son
so much. But he was the one that made me strong. He was the one that created this fire and this passion in me to want to help. That year I was alone. I did not know what to do. I don't wish that loneliness on any person in the world. And if you are watching and you need some strength, please call me, PJ at soulfulresiliencejourney.site, PJ Jones on Facebook, PJ _at_ soulful resilience on Instagram. I'll put all of my feeds and everything. You just go to my link tree and you can contact me. You open letters to a survivor at gmail.com. Hit up Lady Poet. Hit up Miss Cassandra. Hit up Miss Kim. Hit up anybody, Miss Minnie, Miss Carolyn, Miss Linda, any of us. We are all here to help bring this world together. I am really trying not to cry. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm not sorry. I love my tears and you're going to love them too. But it was because of him that I decided to stop being afraid of my voice. It was because of him that I decided to start sharing my story to help everybody who needed to feel love, who needed to share their story to help someone else. You know, you guys didn't hear Lady Poet's story, but her story makes me cry too. Yes, Miss Carolyn, I hear you. Her story made me cry too. You know, she doesn't understand how brave she is. You're brave. I see you looking at me. You're brave. You can have your down days. You can say some of the stuff that we talk about. Say it all. Feel the way you feel. But every day that you say that you're not going to do it, every night you're up doing it. Every night you're up posting. Every night you're up working. So you can crash down all day, every day, all you want. We'll have those conversations forever. But I know you're not going to give up, just like I'm not. And just like you don't have to. So that's why this is here. So I'm going to check the time. Sorry, I'm checking the time to make sure I'm not getting into anyone else's time because I want everyone to be able to share their story. So yep. We're actually at a point where we're going to take a break. If you want to take a break, we could take a break. If you want to just push through, we could push through because we have one more speaker that'll be here at 12:25. Okay, so I am going to call on the help of my sisters because I need to go cry. One of you guys come and get on here and start sharing for me so that I can cry. Because I have ugly cry face, you guys. I have ugly cry face.
That is fine. You could go ahead. Kim or Lucy, do you want to speak? Kim, I'll turn it over to you because you popped in first. You're muted.
Can you hear me? Can you see me? My four-legged family was taking over. And I had to stay on mute and cut my camera down because they was just all in my space. But I definitely can take over for my crying sister, my kindred spirit. You got a bunch of sisters on here who are definitely some crybabies. So it's okay to cry. As we say, crying is healing, so don't you worry about crying. You go ahead and do what you need to do because it's helpful, it's healthy, and it's good. I was actually on PJ's show last night and I shared my story. I'm what you would probably call the quiet storm. I don't do a whole lot of talking unless it's absolutely necessary. And so when she asked me to come on her show and share, I did, as much as I was able to in the time frame that we had. But I am a survivor of domestic violence and sexual assault at an early age. And so there are a lot of similarities among some of us. I lost a child at 6 months during pregnancy. So we share in some of those areas of losing our children, relationships that were toxic, having been in a relationship with a narcissist for many years, and being abused by people who I knew and trusted, who were supposed to have been men who loved me, but in fact, they had issues of their own, apparently, and they took that out on me. Having been, people don't believe that you can be raped by your boyfriend or your husband, and that is a lie. That is a true lie. If there's any truth in a lie, that is one. You can be raped by someone you know. Whenever you say no and you don't want to, you don't have to. And when they force it on you, that's rape. Doesn't matter what their title or position is in your life. And I experienced that multiple times throughout my life. And at a very young age, I was molested by a next door neighbor who I looked up to as a brother. So my journey started early. My trauma started early. And I didn't know that my innocence was stolen. I didn't know that it scarred me, because I was a resilient little girl who just kept it moving. I was a straight A student, and my mama kept me in church. So that was my foundation. They kept me sheltered, but they didn't teach me how to deal with my trauma. They didn't know how to teach me how to deal with my trauma. So as I got older, I made some poor choices in relationships, and I stayed with people who I shouldn't even given the time of day to. But I didn't know. I thought they loved me. I thought they cared about me. So I was physically assaulted, and that's the domestic part of the violence, and then sexually assaulted because they felt that they owned me and that they could do whatever they wanted to, and that I should never tell them no. So having been physically assaulted by someone who in 1 minute says they love me, but in the next minute they're putting their hands on me. So it was a tumultuous time over my early stages of early childhood, all the way into early adulthood, and even into later in my adult life. And as I stated yesterday on her show, on PJ's show, that, the same spirit can come in different faces. You can meet the same spirit on a different person and not even realize it. You should know. And how one of the things is we have to start paying attention to the flags. We have to say, no, if it don't feel right, it probably isn't right. And we need to do whatever we have to do to protect ourselves. And it starts with first loving yourself. I lost my father at a very early age in my life, and I feel as though had my father still been around, some of the mistakes that I made, I probably would have never have made. So fathers are just as important as mothers. So yeah, just having lost so much at an early age and experienced so much at an early age catapulted me into a life where I didn't always love myself, didn't always trust my own decisions, and was quick to fall in love with the first thing that came by. So you had to get to a place where you loved and respected yourself enough to be able to open your eyes and see things for what it really is. Because people show you who they really are in the beginning, and you have to believe it to be true. And that was one of the things I felt like I am here to help people. And I was always trying to encourage people to be better and do better. But if a person doesn't want to change, if a person doesn't want to elevate themselves, you can't force them. You can love them, love them, love them all you want. But if they are not ready to turn that corner, there is absolutely nothing you can do. So save yourself. You can love on them from a distance. They don't have to be in your personal space. And that was one of the things that I had to learn, because I was always sticking and staying in places I had no business being. And so my last battle with domestic violence was 2 years ago. And I had said, you know what? Enough is enough. I don't have to continue to live in this arena of my life. I need to make a change. I need to start paying attention to the flags and being okay with saying no and being okay with letting people go. I am not on this earth to save people. That's God's job. All I can do is extend an olive branch, give them resources, to help themselves if they want it. But I don't have to. And I'll forgive you, but that's not an invitation for you to continue to be in my space. After you've hurt me and I realize that there is nothing I can do about the things that you are going through until you are ready to change, I can help you when you're ready. But until then, I have to take care of me. Then that means I have to let you go. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not a bad or mean or bitter person just because I choose my peace. I choose my happiness, and I choose who gets allowed to be in my space. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I was trying to sum it up quickly because I didn't know how much time I really had. How are we looking, Lady Poet? Do we have our next speaker, or are we going on break?
Yeah.
Or what are we doing?
No, I'm going to introduce the next speaker, and then we can, PJ should be back by then, and then we can just close the summit a little early. Those were the directions I was given. Okay, so we actually have our amazing keynote speaker that'll be coming up next, and I'll be introducing her. But before we get started, I do want to put a trigger warning that her presentation may include sensitive topics also. So that may be triggering. So whatever you have to do as far as self-care, it's okay. Take care of it. We are here. And you can catch it on a replay if you need to. So thank you. And so Danielle Young is a domestic violence survivor turned advocate with over 15 years experience empowering women to heal, reclaim their lives, and thrive. A master certified life coach, trauma-informed yoga teacher, and a certified self-inquiry coach with a bachelor's degree in psychology. Danielle uses her expertise and personal journey to inspire women to break free from limiting beliefs and rebuild their lives with confidence and authenticity. Through her work as an author, speaker, and coach, Danielle has dedicated her life to helping women rise above trauma and embrace their power. Her heartfelt mission is to guide women toward resilience, strength, and fulfillment. Thank you so much, Danielle, for just being who you are and empowering everyone. We're looking forward to hearing your story. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much for that amazing introduction. I am super glad to be here. Can you guys hear and see me okay? Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to share my screen because I have a lovely slideshow. Okay, can you guys see that okay? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so we are going to talk about overcoming limiting beliefs, and I'm going to give you some tangible things that you can start with today to overcome any limiting beliefs that you might have. This is going to be interactive, so if you have some paper or something to write with, or you can just pull up a Google Doc on your computer if you want to type, that would be amazing. So, who am I? You just heard this great introduction about me. I'm a master certified life coach. I am a domestic abuse survivor to thriver. I'm a nervous system trainer. I'm a trauma-informed yoga teacher. I'm an author. My book is coming out here very shortly, and I'm super excited. I am also the owner of Inspired Action Wellness, where I specialize in helping women who are ready to break free from self-doubt and emotional barriers build unshakable self-confidence and embrace their truth so they can create the fulfilling relationships and empowered lives they deserve. I spent about 20 years on my own healing journey after I left my abuser, and I decided that I needed to take my knowledge and training to the masses to become a beacon of hope for women everywhere. So I am super happy and honored to be here. So imagine standing in front of a door, knowing that on the other side is the life that you've always wanted. There's happiness, success, peace, freedom. But as you reach for that handle, something stops you. A voice in your head whispers, "You're not ready. You're not good enough. You don't deserve this. And just like that, you step back, trapped, not by a locked door, but by the invisible chains of your own beliefs. I know this feeling well. Years ago, I was stuck in a cycle of fear, doubt, self sabotage. I did not believe that I was capable of more. I carried the weight of other people's expectations, my past, a deep rooted belief that I was not worthy of the life I dreamed of. But something changed. I realized that the only thing keeping me from my true potential wasn't my past. It wasn't my circumstances or even my failures. It was me. The stories that I told myself, the beliefs I carried, I let that fear control me. So today, I want to help you break free so that you can step fully into the life you are meant to live. One where you no longer shrink yourself to fit old narratives. You no longer let fear dictate your choices, and you no longer allow self doubt to rob you of your dreams. Because you were never meant to live small. Oops, wrong way. We don't just wake up one day and decide to doubt ourselves. Somewhere along the way, we were taught to. As children, we absorb messages from our parents, from our teachers, and even from society like little sponges. Every word, every reaction, every experience shapes how we see ourselves and the world around us. We internalize criticisms, failures, and rejection as proof that we are not enough. And these beliefs become the foundation for how we show up in life. I was 6 years old, sitting on the couch in our living room. I was looking out the window. I was waiting for my dad to come and visit. On his last visit, he promised to bring me pizza. So, as you can imagine, as a little 6-year-old kid, I was so excited to see him and just eat the pizza. I sat on that couch for what felt like hours, just staring out the window. It started raining, and I remember thinking, I hope he still makes it. But I just watched it get darker and darker. He never came. No phone call, no explanation, just nothing. And in that moment, my little 6-year-old mind created a belief. I'm not worth showing up for. I'm not that important. That belief followed me into adulthood. It affected my friendships, all of my relationships, and it really affected how I showed up in the world. Every time someone canceled plans, every unanswered text message, every type of small rejection became further proof that I wasn't important enough. It wasn't until a few years ago, during a self inquiry session with my coach, that I realized this wasn't my truth. It was just simply a story that I had created to make sense of a painful experience. My dad's inability to show up had everything to do with his own struggles and nothing to do with me and my worth. Other people's actions don't define us, it defines them. What other people do, what they say, or how they react has nothing to do with you. It's their own perceptions and beliefs being projected on us, but we look for ways to believe what they say or how they treat us. Our brain looks for evidence to confirm what we already believe. This is known as confirmation bias. Think about it like this. Imagine wearing red tinted glasses, or like rose colored glasses is like such a great metaphor for this. Suddenly the world looks red. It's not that the world has changed, it's that your perception has been filtered. And that's exactly what happens with our beliefs. If we believe we're not smart enough, we notice every mistake and ignore our successes. If we believe we're unlovable, we interpret those small rejections as proof we're not worthy of love. For years after that day waiting for my dad, I carried the belief that I wasn't worth showing up for. But here's what's fascinating about the human mind. Once we believe something, we look for evidence to support it. When friends would cancel plans, I wouldn't think, oh, they must be busy. I'd think, see, no one prioritizes me. When I'd receive praise for something that I did, I'd dismiss it. But criticism, that I would hold on to, turning it over in my mind for days. Even when people did show up for me consistently, I somehow wouldn't fully notice or appreciate it. My brain was so busy looking for evidence of my unworthiness that it filtered out anything that contradicted that belief. Does this sound familiar to anyone? So yeah, maybe your belief isn't about being worth showing up for. Maybe it's I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve success, or I always mess things up. Whatever it is, know this. Your mind is constantly filtering your experiences to support that belief. And until you change the belief, your reality won't change. But here's the good news. Once you start to recognize the pattern, you can break it. Once I started challenging the belief that I wasn't worth showing up for, I started noticing all the people who did show up for me, all the ways I showed up for myself, all the evidence that contradicted my old story. And that's when everything began to change. Most of us don't even realize we're carrying beliefs that don't belong to us. The first step in challenging any belief is becoming aware of it. Most of our limiting beliefs operate just below our conscious awareness. They're the lens through which we see everything, but we don't see the lens itself. So, how do you recognize these hidden narratives? Pay attention to your thoughts, especially in moments of challenge or discomfort. What do you say to yourself when you fail? What do you say to yourself when you succeed? What do you say when you're about to try something new? So, I'm going to have a little fun. Take a moment right now, wherever you are, and just jot down the most common negative thoughts you have about yourself. Don't judge or analyze them, but just notice them. And I'll give you a second to do that, or just think about, a couple. So for me, some of those thoughts used to be, I'm not lovable. I'll never have a good life. And people don't like me. When I was 18, I got into a relationship with a guy who was 10 years older than me. Looking back, there were so many red flags about him, but I mean, you know how when you're young, I just ignored them. Early on in our relationship, he became very controlling and abusive, and I could not see a way out. The abuse escalated one night when our daughter was only 3 weeks old, and he came home and we started fighting. That night, I almost lost my life, and my daughter almost lost her mother. I was devastated. His actions through our entire relationship solidified in my mind that I was not lovable. Who hurt someone they love? What was it about me that was not deserving of a loving, healthy relationship? I agonized over this for years. I got into horrible, unhealthy relationships. I self destructed. I became an alcoholic. I started drinking to just numb the pain. I was living in such misery that I contemplated suicide several times. But one night when my daughter was sleeping, I looked at her and I told myself, no, no more. This needs to change. I cannot be like this, and I can't raise her if I'm not mentally healthy. So I started down my path to healing. Once I recognized the journey, I recognized that this pattern was directly related to my dad not showing up for me, and that I'm not lovable belief that I carried through my whole life. Once I recognized the narrative, I could finally begin to question it. Once I began to question it through the process of self inquiry, everything opened up and it made sense. And I let it all go. So once you've identified a limiting belief, ask yourself, who told me this? Where did this belief even come from? Is this belief actually mine, or did I inherit it from someone else? Is this belief empowering me or limiting me? I often work with women who believe they're too old to start a new career. When we explore the source of this belief, they usually realize it came from like offhand comments by their parents in childhood about settling down and about being realistic as they age. It's not their truth. It's a borrowed belief that keeps them stuck and unbelieving in themselves and their abilities. Think about that limiting belief you just wrote down or you just thought about. Ask yourself, where did it come from? Is it truly yours? Or is it something that you absorbed from your parents, your teachers, your friends, or someone else in your community or your society? Once you've identified a limiting belief and questioned its source, you can replace it with a new empowering truth. Instead of, I'm not good enough, ask, what if I am? Instead of, I always fail, try, I learn and grow from every experience. My belief that I wasn't worthy of love or happiness kept me in a cycle of self sabotage for years. Every time things started going well, I'd find a way to derail my progress because deep down, I believed I was broken and I didn't deserve success. And therefore, self sabotage, I could control the outcome I was sure was going to happen, which is what we now know as confirmation bias. The turning point came when I started questioning all of my negative beliefs. So when you choose to believe something different about yourself, you start showing up differently. And when you show up differently, your life transforms. Your beliefs shape your actions. Change your beliefs, and you change your life. Science has proven that your brain can literally rewire itself through a process called neuroplasticity. Think of your thoughts as tire tracks in the dirt or ruts in the snow. It's pretty appropriate now. We've all probably familiar with snow. The thoughts you think most often become those well-worn trails. They're easy for your mind to follow automatically. But with intention and repetition, you can smooth over those ruts and create new paths. The first time you try to think of a new thought, like, I'm confident, it feels different. Your brain tries to resist it. But each time you choose that new thought, the path gets a little clearer. Eventually, with consistent practice, that new belief becomes the default, which is a smooth, easy trail for your mind to follow. The first time I stood in front of the mirror and said, I am lovable, I felt ridiculous. And my ego immediately jumped in with a yeah, right. And I just remember like smirking at myself. But I kept at it. I wrote it down on a post-it and I stuck it to my bathroom mirror. And each day I would see it and I would repeat it. My kids thought I was crazy. But at the end of each day during my journaling session, I would write down any evidence from that day that supported it. At first, it felt like I was trying to convince myself of something that felt impossible. But after weeks of consistent practice saying, I am lovable, it kind of started to not feel like a lie. So, how do you actually rewire your brain? Here's three things that helped transform my life, and they may help you. So, the first one is evidence based affirmations. Don't just say, I'm confident. Say, I'm confident because I show up prepared and knowledgeable. The key is to back your affirmations with real evidence from your life, no matter how small. This makes the belief believable to your brain. Every morning, I write 2 to 3 affirmations with evidence, like I am worthy of love because I show up with honesty and compassion, or I am successful because I take consistent action towards my goals, even when it's difficult. The second one is visualization with emotion. Your brain doesn't distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you combine clear visualization with genuine emotion, you create new neural pathways. And we're actually going to do a visualization later on. The third one is acting as if. So this started to become a game changer for me. Start making decisions from the perspective of your future self, the person who has already overcome these limiting beliefs. I like to tell myself, do something today that your future self will thank you for. When I was building my business, I was plagued by imposter syndrome, but I kept asking myself, what would a successful business owner do? Okay, they would invest in quality branding. They would set professional boundaries. They'd charge with their worth. So that's what I did. Even though it felt incredibly uncomfortable, even though those old beliefs were screaming at me to play small. I remember the first time I ever published my website, every limiting belief was activated. Like, who do you think you are? No one will ever see this. You are going to fail. But I put it up anyway, acting as if I already had people looking at it. You know what happens? That moment, it not only transformed my business, but my belief in what was possible for me. It also gave me the confidence I needed to keep pushing myself out of my comfort zone. Most of us don't fear failure. We fear stepping into our power because it means letting go of our old identity. Most, or one of the most profound realizations I've had in my journey is we often shrink ourselves not because we're afraid that we'll fail, but because we're afraid we'll succeed. Success means visibility. It means being seen, truly seen. And for many of us, that's terrifying. When I first started sharing my story publicly, the real, raw, unfiltered truth about my struggles and how I overcame them, I was terrified of judgment. Like, what would people think? Would they see me differently? Would they reject me? But the biggest fear of all, I spent over 20 years in hiding from my abuser. And pushing that publish button meant there was a chance he could find me or my daughter. Everything in me wanted to play it safe, to keep hiding. But something deeper was calling to me. It was like this little voice that said, your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. So I published my website. And I got so many messages from people saying to me, oh my God, I had no idea that this happened to you. Your story is so powerful. It's going to give so many people hope. By being brave enough to be seen, I created space for others to do the same. So the most powerful version of you is the one who refuses to dim their light, who speaks their truth, who shows up fully without apology, without shame, and without the need to make themselves small for other people's comfort. So think of yourself as a lighthouse. Your job isn't to chase boats or to convince them to come to shore. Your job is simply to shine so brightly that those who are meant to find you will. I coached a woman once who had spent her entire life trying to fit in. She dressed how she thought she should dress. She pursued a career her parents approved of. She kept her wildest dreams and thoughts to herself. When she finally gave herself permission to be bold, to speak her mind, and to pursue her passion for art, everything changed. Yeah, some people were a little uncomfortable with the new her. A few friendships shifted, but for every person who stepped back, three more stepped forward. Then they were people who were drawn to her authenticity and her courage and her light. The truth is, when you start to live authentically, you become a magnet for the right people, the right opportunities, and the right experiences. Your vibe is your tribe. So, here's the point where I'd like to guide you through a pretty powerful visualization to help you release your limiting beliefs and step into your true power. So, if you would like to go through this, let's just begin in a comfortable position. You can either do this seated or lying down. It's about 7 minutes. And just close your eyes if you feel safe to. And if you don't, then just leave your eyes in like a soft gaze. And allow your shoulders to relax away from your ears. And just unclench your jaw, soften your forehead, soften your face, your cheeks, and your tongue. And take a deep breath in through your nose, filling your lungs completely. And hold it at the top for 3 counts. Then exhale slowly through your mouth, releasing all the tension you've been carrying. Again, breathe in deeply. Hold for 3. And then release everything that doesn't serve you. And one more time, we'll inhale fully, pause for 3. And as you exhale, feel yourself becoming fully present in this moment. Now imagine yourself standing at the base of a majestic mountain. This isn't just any mountain. This is your mountain. Every ridge, every contour represents a chapter of your journey. The peak, bathed in radiant golden light, is your dream life calling to you. Feel the earth beneath your feet, solid, grounded, supporting you completely. The air around you is crystal clear, filling your lungs with energy and clarity. With each breath, you feel more awake, more alive, more connected to your purpose. You place your hand on your heart and make a silent promise. Today, I climb. Today, I choose myself. Now take your first step forward. Feel the immediate surge of power that comes from this simple decision to move toward what you want. The path feels natural beneath your feet, as if it has been waiting for you all along. As you continue to climb, Notice how your body moves with increasing strength and grace. Your muscles remember what it means to overcome, to persist, and to triumph. Each step upward is a victory, an affirmation that you are becoming. You come to a section of the path where sharp rocks and old tree roots create obstacles. These represent the doubts and fears that have held you back. As you navigate around them, name them silently to yourself, such as, I release the belief that I am not enough. I let go of the fear that I don't deserve success. With each named limitation, feel its weight dissolve from your shoulders. The higher you climb, the lighter you become. Halfway up the mountain, you reach a plateau. Take a moment here to turn and look at how far you've come. The starting point is now just a tiny speck below. All those obstacles that once seemed so overwhelming now appear small and insignificant from this new vantage point. This is perspective. It's the gift of the journey. And notice how the air has changed here. It carries the scent of possibility, of dreams taking form. Breathe it in deeply, letting it fill every cell of your body. Now the final ascent begins. The path steepens, demanding more from you. But something has changed. You are no longer the same person who started this climb. With each challenging step, you feel a deep well of resilience rising within you. The voice inside you no longer whispers, I hope I can, but confidently declares, I know I will. Feel the wind against your face, not as resistance, but as nature itself cheering you onward. The sunlight breaks through the clouds, warming your skin and illuminating your path. You are supported. You are guided. You are never alone on this journey. And with one final powerful step, you reach the summit. Stand tall. Place both hands over your heart. Feel it beating strongly, the rhythm of your courage, your persistence, your unwavering commitment to yourself. Now see the vast panorama before you. This is your dream life, spread out in vibrant detail. Look around slowly, taking in every aspect of this vision. Who do you see? Who stands beside you celebrating your arrival? What work fills your days with purpose and your nights with satisfied exhaustion? What home welcomes you? What impact do you make on the world around you? Feel the emotions washing over you. Pride in how far you've come. Gratitude for the journey. And a deep, soul-stirring joy that comes from standing in alignment with your truest self. This is real. This is possible. This is waiting for you. Now, in this moment of clarity and power, make a commitment to yourself. Choose one action, one step you will take to move toward this vision. Feel the certainty of this commitment anchoring itself within you. Take a final deep breath at the summit. As you inhale, draw in the essence of everything you've seen, all the possibility, all the joy, all the fulfillment. And as you exhale, know that you carry this vision within you always. The mountain was never something to conquer. It was the path revealing your own strength, courage, and capacity to rise. Now begin to bring your awareness back to your physical body. Feel the surface beneath you, wiggle your fingers and toes. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes, carrying with you the knowledge that you are already on your way. Your dream life isn't waiting for you to be ready. It's waiting for you to begin. And you just did. So what's next? Remember the door that I talked about in the beginning? It was never locked. The only thing standing between you and the life you want is the belief that you can't have it. You are powerful beyond measure. You were never meant to live a life of fear, self-doubt, or playing small. So today, I challenge you to do one thing. Pick one limiting belief and replace it with an empowering truth. Write it down, speak it out loud, and most importantly, start living as if it's already true. Because the moment you decide to believe in yourself, everything changes. Remember, your past doesn't define you. Your fears don't own you, and the stories you've been telling yourself can be rewritten. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much. I've made it super easy to connect if you resonated with any of this. Here are all the social media platforms I'm on under Inspired Action Wellness. You can scan these QR codes here. One will go to my meetup group where I host live virtual events every month. The other one connects you with my Facebook group. Both communities are totally free to join, and I would love to see you there. Here's also the book I mentioned. If you're a reader, it's available for pre-order on my site. Here's the QR code for that. You can go on my website and learn more, get pricing and all that jazz. And every pre-order does come with a bonus. And finally, thank you so much for being here. I just want you all to know I see you, I believe in you, and I can't wait to see who you become when you finally break free. So if you're ready to take the next step or would like support with the limiting belief, this QR code on this slide gets you a free 30-minute mini session where we will talk about your limiting belief and craft a personalized strategy to work through it. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, I would love to see you, meet you, and talk about your journey. That's it for me. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it, and I'm so honored to be here with all of you today.
Thank you so much, Miss Danielle. I appreciate you jumping in a little early and getting finishing us up off so strong. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I enjoyed your speech. You guys, she was also my very, very, very first guest on my new season and my first actual live of Insights of a Survivor. So Miss Danielle and I, we go way back. So you guys, please reach out to her because she does a lot of healing therapies that I've never even heard of. I had to have her explain one of them to me. So, I mean, but she is like, she has this calming voice, this calming personality, and I cannot wait to work with her more. Thank you so much, Miss Danielle.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, you're gonna make me cry. Thank you.
I think I made a few people cry today, so join the
I don't
club.
want to don't cry.
That's okay. We cry together. We're a community. It's all love. All love.
I know all the love. I can't do the heart. All the love.
There we go. That's the heart that we love that heart.
Yes.
So you
Gotta get
guys don't forget to reach out to Miss Danielle. She left her codes in there. I'm gonna put her information also in the chat. You can I'm gonna actually, this is something I just thought of today, actually this second. Everyone who speaks on my events, I'm gonna make a resource page on my platform so that anybody before, during, or after, or anything that I do, you can always reach out for it, whether it's my summits, whether it's my Facebook page, I mean, not Facebook page, my Insights of a Survivor, no matter what, I'm going to make sure anybody who wants to be reached can be reached. So you guys look out for her because she's travels the world, you guys. I'm kind of jealous of Miss Danielle because I see you. She's goals for me. She's goals for me. So thank you again. You have a great, great day. And thank you for doing this a little early. I appreciate the flexibility.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's great. I'm happy to.
So, as we come to a close from this incredible event, I want to take a moment to acknowledge each and every single one of you, the speakers, the guests, the host, the co-host, everyone who showed up for this event. Your presence here, your willingness to listen, to share, and to grow is a testament to your strength, and that is what lives within you. So today was a good day. We had so many people share, so even me, which was unexpected, but love. I'll share when I need to. And we stood together as fearless women, as flourishing souls, and as voices who refuse to be silenced. But this is just the beginning. Like Miss Danielle said, you have to take what you've gained and what you've learned, and you have to move that forward. Climb that mountain, get up, it's not as scary as you get. And when you get to the top of that summit and you see that view is always worth it, isn't it, Miss Danielle? Let's lift each other up. Stand by your power. Lift up another woman because when one of us rises, we all rise. So thank you for showing up, sharing the space, for being a part of something bigger than any one of us alone. Let's keep rising. Let's keep thriving. And let's never forget that you are fearless. You are flourishing and you are unstoppable. So if this resonates with you, please, please like, share, subscribe, follow me. Empower Voices, Finding Strength to Survivors. Follow me on Facebook. My Linktree information is all in my bio here. If you want to replay this, it's going to be available for everyone who wants to replay. And I thank you all so much for coming out. And you guys all have a wonderful evening. I'm not going to all tomorrow. Thank you so much for all of you who showed up. And I cannot wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be just as epic as it is today. You guys have a great